Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the TEC High School Series. I am, as always, Joker's Ransom, and he is, as always, Lord Thethan, and we are here to start things off on week 1 of the playoffs.
Oh, and what a great start we're going to have. The top 8 teams remaining in the TEC High School Series, all duking it out in this single elimination bracket for their shot at the championship title. Last season, unless I'm mistaken, it was Hollidaysburg walking away with that win, and we will see them in the bracket today. Let's actually take a look at that while we have the opportunity. We'll get to see Hollidaysburg today go up against Everett. Winburn and Shade, they've actually already played their game, but we haven't gotten to see it yet, and I'm actually really excited, Joker. We'll get to cast the replay, the recording, and then of course Greater Johnstown and Ferndale is going to be a very exciting matchup. But the first match of the day is West Branch versus Forest Hills.
Yeah, the new versus the old. West Branch in their first season in the TEC High School Series, and they're the #1 seed, and for good reason. We got their stats from the season here. And, I mean, to put it lightly, their entire team's very good. I mean, and look at this. They've got the top 2, the second best tank in the league in ball diff. They've got the #4 DPS in DPS diff, and then the #1 support in Firelord. I mean, come on. And then the game slays top 12 in Breadcat, top 7. I mean, what more can you ask for? This is currently the team to beat.
Yeah, it absolutely is. There's some pretty goated players here that we've gotten to talk about in the past. It honestly, Firelord popping out as the #1 ranked support in the TC High School Series, it was a little bit of a surprise to me, just because we haven't gotten to rant and rave about Firelord as often in the past as some of their contemporaries. But we have gotten to rave about plenty of other players, including those on the Forest Hills roster. And they've actually got some stats backing them up as well. Not quite the highly esteemed rankings that you might see on West Branch or maybe from some of the other top performing teams. You do have Vang, who's #5 on the tank roll with 5.8k damage mitigated average per 10, which is actually, I mean, that's more than enough, right? You're blocking enough damage. Hopefully you're dealing enough damage as well. But you've also got Devo and Bloodhound neck and neck in that DPS role. Look, it's rank 10 and 11 respectively. And then as well, looking at the support stats, you've got 20 assists between JB Bommel and Brain Drain average per 10. If 20 people every 10 minutes are dying because of participation from JB and Brain, then that's fantastic. It means that you're getting a lot of support participation, and that sets you up pretty well for consecutive fights. So I think that this matchup today, Joker, is a great one to start with. This is 2 titans really from me. The just absolutely spectacular West Branch squad, who I believe debuted this season and have made a really strong name for themselves. And of course, Forest Hills, who was a long-time participant in the TEC High School Series and in previous champions as well.
And well, we teased this a little bit earlier in a previous broadcast, but we have our map pool, and guess what? Both myself and Lord Thethan designed this map pool for the playoffs. We're starting out on Nepal, headed to Shambali, and then we're taking a trip to Caliseo if necessary. And I mean, why don't you run it down here? Why do we choose these maps?
I mean, for one, there's the personal preference, Joker. The fact that we like certain maps and don't care for others, which is a little ironic since there is one map in this pool that we particularly are not big fans of. But we also really wanted to see some variety in the composition, some real strategies emerge. For some of the maps, it was a question of, which team is going to play the mirror matchup better, such as here on Nepal Village, which is where we've ended up, where, really you're running brawl mirror composition. positions for most of this map. For other parts of the map, or for other maps that we picked, it was the question of, you know, whose strategy that we've seen is going to be more effective or less effective on this particular map. I think about the possibility of, or not the possibility, I think about watching Winber today play on Shambhala Monastery, and thinking about Garrett's Hanzo just is absolutely terrifying, Joker. But I think we'll get there when we get there. Joker, those were a couple of things that we were thinking of when we were picking the maps.
Yeah, we definitely were. And now, well, we're going to start off on Nepal Village, like you said. And, well, there it is. The Brawl Mirror matchup coming through from both these teams. However, Forest Hills are opting to go with Devo and Bloodhound on Symmetra Bastion, respectively. And they've already got themselves set up, so it's going to be really hard for West Branch to push into this composition that they're running. This just sheer amount of damage that can come out from the DPS is just unimaginable. But they're already forcing them back. They're trying to take things out. The nice charge comes in from Baldef. They are still going down, however. They're still super low. They still haven't been able to really push through, and the game Slays is already out of this fight thanks to the turrets coming in from Devo, and Forest Hills are able to start things off in their favor.
And it's a really good start here for Forest Hills. West Branch ain't done quite yet, it would seem. I really like the consistency. DPS Div just constantly poking and prodding this back angle, and then forcing Vang to make a critical error.
Yeah, they do find Breadcat, but then they don't have anyone to block up the shatter from Baldef. Knocks down 4, and 4 follow suitly afterwards as West Branch get the point back into their favor.
Even I didn't anticipate that it was going to be that Vang's absence from the latter stage of that fight was going to be that important. But it's something that DPS Diff and Baldiv both kind of had on the radar. Was if we can get Vang out of position, then we open up the opportunity for a big shatter there, and that's exactly what they did. Really nice execution from West Branch.
That's a lot of damage indeed. But you know what else does a lot of damage? The Death Blossom coming in from DPS Diff, taking down 2 players on Forest Hills and still holding on to this point.
Yeah, ends up being a little bit more expensive for West Branch there. That's the commitment of now 3 ultimates, and Forest Hills have only used the 2. The sound barrier, which just unfortunately wasn't able to save enough, and then the window there to open things up. Now they got the photon barrier to escort them across.
Yeah, they've got the photon barrier, they've got the artillery strike, and the shatter if necessary. But they haven't been able to walk out. The overclock comes in from Game Slays. Forces back Forest Hills yet again, buying them more time. They're going to have to do a full sail rotation here.
I like the decision to rotate with the teleporter. Yep, that's perfect. That's some agency here on the point that they can take.
Yeah, but then they lose JD Bommel early on. Game Slays is out of it. The points flipped over into the favor of Forest Hills, but the Shatter's not blocked at all by Vang. The charge comes through. They lose it for a second, but get it back just as quickly.
Pin is broken anyways. You can never expect to hit anything if you're Reinhardt, and you can always expect to get sucked in if you're not Reinhardt. A little unlucky for Vang there that the second pin, really a second important pin of the game, you know, hasn't really gotten to go through. I don't think that Team 4 will ever fix that ability. There's the artillery configuration from Bloodhound to start things off. Forest Hills just ran right back onto the point. Photon barrier is going to help them stay there.
Yeah, they get to the point without really any bloodshed. The shatter available still from Vang, but they haven't gotten the chance to use it just yet. I'm expecting it to come on to those 2 that are all alone, but they might not need it in the end. The Game Slays is out of this fight, and so is well, no one else just yet. But there goes Fire Lord as well. Now this should be West Branch holding on, but the Death Blossom finds 2. That might be a go sign for West Branch to come back in, but no, losing DPS Diff and Breadcat going down super low and getting stalled out, staggered out there. That's not what you wanted to see. It's up to 75% now.
Yeah, for West Branch, that's a tough fight to lose. For Forest Hills, that was a really nicely played fight. And we got to see Vang there really play the way that they wanted to, which is just to rush down the enemy DPS. DPS diff in the game slays, operating that off angle, and just get them out of the fight. Let the rest of the team handle ball diff. They can do it.
They definitely can. The Ant Matrix is going to come through already, and they've lost the game slays. This is not looking good. The sound barrier is invested. A big anti-nade, but no one can touch in the end. Forest Hills take round 1.
There's already a lot of things to praise here from both of these teams, Joker. So at least let me at least try and prattle through the big ones. West Branch has had some really clean fights. They know when to not play on the objective or when to not force a fight there because of the amount of damage that lies on the side of Forest Hills. Forest Hills have committed themselves to this identity, though. They've got all of the damage, they've got some mobility, and they've got Vang, not to hold up the shield, but to swing the hammer. And it's a really good look for Forest Hills, and it's gotten them this far. Why not it lead them to a continued playoffs run, right? Heading into Sanctum, things are going to change a little bit because of the expanse between between these two teams. You've got some empty space there to possibly cheese around in, and a switch in the composition as well. Baldiv falling out to the Sigma, which is a good pick, especially for this map.
Yeah, but they need to keep the brawl at range, and they've already lost Baldiv. Vang comes in with the charge, takes them out. They do go down in the end, but they've already lost 4. As Forest Hills look to start things off strong yet again.
And you know, I think I've talked about this a little bit before. Look at the kill participation. Look at the fight participation from Forest Hills, right? You've got JB Balmo and Brain Jane and Bloodhound, who are the lowest with ultimate, but they're still like 20%. Breadcat, Breadcat and Baldiv, who got pretty much rushed down instantly. They had basically nothing after that fight in terms of ult charge, and they're about to not have more.
Yeah, I mean, the game slay's already out of this fight early on. Keeps dying first. This needs to stop if you are West Branch. You can't continue to lose one of your DPS heroes early on in these fights as they come through. DPS diff does take away the space. A nice rock comes through as well. Vang still alive, however, but they're on the back foot, being forced away. The game slay's getting down in the trenches as DPS Dev comes through with a 4K Death Blossom to get the point finally into the favor of West Branch.
Well, you know, I did tell you earlier that you know, for Forest Hills, it's about Vang swinging the hammer, not holding the shield, and that's what we got to see is Vang charge past the Ant Matrix onto the point, leave the team so that they can get ulted by Death Blossom, and Vang can stall a little bit longer. But that's okay, Vang's right back in the fight.
Yeah, Vang's right back in the fight, but JB Bommel's not at all. They forced back to spawn already, buying them more time, building up more percentage.
Yeah. And building up ultimates as well. Firelord coming up on the Valkyrie. The game slays is going to have this this overclock, and even the slightest little bit of damage amplification onto a fully charged Sojourn railgun shot is enough to kill anyone instantly. So there it is in action. It's a little bit too early though. Forest Hills, they can just LOS it. They can safely play around the cover and go for the artillery config.
Yeah, the artillery configuration coming through, not gonna land on anyone as Firelord does get caught up in the midst of everything. Well, they're trying to save face, but they still are holding on here. The nano boost onto Baldiv just does all the damage that West Branch needs, and well, the follow-up was there from the support, the DPS as well.
That ends up being an expensive fight, really, for both teams. An opportunity as well for Forest Hills to reconsider the composition that they're running if they want to change it to respond to the way that West Branch is playing. It doesn't seem like that is the case, especially with JB Balmo with the sound barrier. You don't want to swap off that defensive ult, considering that Baldiv has their flux.
Yeah, and as well, they're gonna have this Death Blossom coming through. The sound barrier comes through. Vang's found Breadcat, though. Devo's super low as well, but they need to be able to hold on to this. DPS Dev coming through yet again. 4 kills with the Death Blossom, and that should be that, tying things up, going to round 3 of Nepal.
That's perfect. And you know, Joker, I realized that that's another part of the motivation for picking some of these maps is, you know, which of these maps are going to go the distance? Which of these maps do we get to see the most of, right? So, you know, we went from Village, which is the Brawl Mirror, to Sanctum, where you can run the poke composition, the poke pickoff comp, which is exactly what West Branch was doing. They don't need to thrive in the neutral if they always have ultimates that they can use, such as the Death Blossom, which claimed 4-2 times, and now we're here on Shrine. This is where on pen and paper Forest still should be succeeding, but this is another opportunity to see another tank in the lineup now. Ramatra, leader of Null Sector, now leading West Branch out their spawn doors as they open, and it represents a troubling matchup for Vang on the Reinhardt, considering the relative power level between Ramatra and Reinhardt at the moment. Ramatra is quite strong.
Oh my goodness. Breadcat continuing to dominate the lobby with these huge anti-nades. The healing just can't keep up with them right now, Lord Dathan. I mean, they're continuously at half HP or lower just because of these anti-nades that come through.
I've begun to lose my enamorment of the Bionade cooldown of Ana. Oh, it's so irritating getting antied in my ranked games, and I can't imagine Forest Hills is too pleased about an anti landing on 5 of them. Maybe it was 4. That's the second really big anti that I've noticed from Breadcat on this Ana, so I'm really excited to see how the rest of this map holds for them. As well, with Breadcat on the Ana, you've got a really nice synergy between her and Ramatra with the ultimate combo.
There it is again! A 5-man anti coming in from Breadcat! It's setting up the fight perfectly for West Branch!
That's you know, Joker, I've written macro with where the fights start off with Ana's Bionade, and it seems as if West Branch might have claimed my notes somehow, which for one, don't operate according to those. That's a rough draft. You won't get a winning strat off of that, but West Branch has somehow turned it into one. Coming up on halfway to objective completion and several ultimates on standby, Forest Hills is going to be in a tough spot if they don't win this next fight.
Yeah, DPS diff is super low here. The Death Blossom is going to come through. You just can't deal with it. He was half HP and somehow still finds 2. Make it 3 for DPS diff. This is one of the top 4 DPS the TEC High School Series for a reason, and they keep living up to it play after play.
Yeah, and look at that, you only use the Blossom. So West Branch there, they're coming up on more ultimates, so 2 of them being the Nano Boost and the Annihilate, which is a really effective combo coming up into last fight. Forest Hills lagging a little bit behind an ult charge, but it's still not losable, or it's still winnable for them, rather, because Brain Drain is coming up on this Amplification Matrix. They no longer have a Joker. It might be lost for Forest Hills.
Yeah, the overclock comes through. The Annihilation coming in as well. And I think that's it. Yeah, they're going to take them out. The game slays, and Balldef going toe for toe, kill for kill. West Branch take map number 1.
In a 3-round first map, though, you know, Forest Hills looking really great on Nepal Village, and West Branch taking the other 2 after realizing that they weren't going to beat Forest Hills in their own game, which is really fantastic, Joker. And that's honestly, that's what the playoffs are about. It's about these teams, you know, certainly experimenting with each other, you know, getting the read on you know, hey, they want to go on the Brawl Comp. Let's see if we can beat them on it. And often, sometimes playing the mirror matchup ends up being a path of least resistance. But for these teams, for the playoffs run, it's time to break the mold and to test the things that that maybe we've worked on only a little bit in our practices and our scrimmages, or to simply default onto comfort picks, or to pull out something that that the enemy team just never would have seen coming. In any case, it was a brilliant read from West Branch to say they want to play the brawl. Let's just poke them out, play for pickoff potential, and go from there. And really every opportunity that you get as early as possible in these series, the ones that really matter the most, to understand how your opponent wants to play the game so that you get clear win and lose conditions for your team. That's a huge luxury, and that's one that West Branch will certainly be operating with heading into the next map.
Yeah, and the next map is going to be Shambali Monastery, and Lord Thiethan, we might have set them up to fail with this map pool because, well, like you were saying, they wanted to play Brawl, now heading to Shambali, into any escort, really. We've kind of set them up for fail, besides maybe the ones for the next 2 weeks. This isn't a map that normally sees Brawl comps.
No, this is a map on which Sigma is really strong. So if Baldiff wants to go back on the Sigma, they can. If you want to play Ramatra, you absolutely can. And this is a great map for Ramatra because what you can do in this map is you can just stay in Omnic form for as long as possible, which is undervalued, really. The highest level Ramatra players will know that you actually don't want to be running in and out of Nemesis form off cooldown. You can actually just stay in just regular Ramatra Omnic form and get a lot of value that way. You can play these poke tanks. You can play the brawly ones for sure, but there are some long sight lines, so you have to consider that you won't have a shield in case someone has a sniper, and that's going to make things really troubling for Forest Hills if they don't mirror any snipers that are being run. And then even more than that, any of the teams that lose those sniper duels are going to be at a pretty steep disadvantage. This map is very, very powerful for its long sidelines.
It really is. It really is indeed. As we are about to load in to the game, see what these two teams are feeling, what they're thinking, and right now I'm seeing something that I'm not really liking, Lord Thiethan, on the side of Forest Hills.
It's the Brawl. It's the Brawl. You know, I think that it's still workable, right? West Branch doesn't have a Widowmaker, and that's the hero that I'd look at and I'd be like, okay, yeah, it's game over for the team that either isn't able to deal with a Widow or able to make it happen. But with game slays and DPS stuff on these mid-range DPS characters, and you do have some close sightlines that you can play, as well as Devo on the Mei, it makes this map a little bit more doable. I would love to see Vang on the Ramatra. I do enjoy my Null Sector Omnic representation. He's my favorite hero in the game by a pretty wide margin. And he's good on this map, but the fact is that the whole comp from Forest Hills is built around this Reinhardt. It's built around putting him in place and letting him run free, be the tip of the spear in this rush composition. With the sacrifice of the Immortality Field, though, might be looking at a tough fight. Well,
and speaking of a tough fight, they've lost Firelord. Now the game slays. They might lose out Brain Drain. They do lose out Bloodhound, but still, they have this advantage at the moment, and Breadcat all alone with no help, no one to save them, goes down in the end, and it still looks good for Forest Hills to keep pushing.
It looks good for Forest Hills to push for now. Firelord taken out again. That's actually really, really big.
It really is, but I think they've got to... Okay, or just keep dying. This isn't what you want to see from West Branch just at this moment. They are getting into their territory where the spawns are going to help them in the long run, but they need people back. They've already given up so much space. The Gravitic Flux is there. There's no sound barrier to counter it out. That might be the go sign that West Branch needed, and it seems to be the EMP just to top things off as West Branch start their hold.
I mean, I was sitting there that whole fight kind of racking my brain because I'm watching Baldiff just sit up there on the high ground and get, I think it was Brain Drain, Devo, and JP Balmo all at different times critically low. Was never able to walk away with any final blows, and DPS Diff is just there in the background hacking and shooting people. Build up to an EMP, which I think we saw deployed there. I couldn't imagine why they're at 12% if they didn't EMP because they started Sombra. Forest Hills is coming up on ultimates here, so the fact is that you don't need to deal with Baldiff or anyone in particular, just ult the point and you win. That's all we need to see here.
Pretty much, but hey, they've already lost a Bloodhound. The Blizzard is going to be there, but the Kite not going to be there. I thought they got out of it, but that is not the case. The Blizzard locks them all up and down as Forest Hills come through with the capture.
Yes, get DPS stiff. Kill that Rat Sombra. Death to Rat Sombra players. I'm not a big fan of Sombra at the moment. She is very irritating. It's sad that DPS stiff has to die there, but alas, you feel good if you're one of the people chasing down that Sombra and you see her throw Translocator. Means that there's no way her out for her. Means that that kill is all but yours. Forest Hills converged onto the objective with 2 ultimates. That was the Earth Shatter and the Blizzard. They're coming up on 3 more though, so this is still, they can maintain their momentum here.
Yeah, they can, especially finding Breadcat, who had one of the only ultimates available for West Branch, the Amp Matrix of their own, used in by Brain Drain. They are going to use this Valkyrie coming in from Firelord. Game Slays is still super low, though. The Soundbeer also invested, cannot keep Brain Drain alive for very long. They do lose them in the end, but they still are making progress. They are so close to the end of point number 2, but they are losing so many heroes on their board, as it should be the point held by West Branch.
Yeah, West Branch gets to stabilize here. They get the rest of their ultimates off the back of a Valkyrie that assisted them in winning that fight, and also with the damage amplification comes that little extra bit of ultimate generation. So West Branch are looking pretty happy to engage in this next fight, really however they would like. For Forest Hills, it's going to be a little bit more troubled for this next fight. There's going to be an ult storm that they have to weather, or you're looking at the possibility of West Branch just only having to use 1 ult, and your team kind of crumples there. That's huge, though. That window is really early, so Forest Hills can just safely line of sight it, and that's their response. The goal here for Forest Hills is to individually wait out and live each of West Branch's ultimates, or to force them to use everything here.
Well, the Annihilation's gonna come through. Oh my goodness, look at the damage coming out. Baldiff with 4. The EMP and... Wait, what? The EMP and the Tactical Advisor was used as well.
Forest Hills met their win condition, Joker. But it wasn't really anything of their own volition. It wasn't Forest Hills sitting here saying, all right, let's force them to use these ults. It was West Branch saying, let's ult! And, I mean, hey, so it feels good to press the Q button. It feels good to win a fight like that, but for Forest Hills, it's going to feel really good to win this one, knowing that they don't have anything they can do about your ults.
I was wondering why everyone was going down so fast, and then I realized 3 ultimates were used in the midst of all that. Now Breadcat is gone. The hack is there, but the Blizzard is there as well, and that's just going to help solidify things into the favor of Forest Hills, as they're just able to escort the payload without really any contest from West Branch.
No, and Forest Hills gets an additional 2:10, an additional 2 minutes in the time bank to make this 3rd point stretch. This is where their brawl comp gets really challenging, by the way, against the poke brawl hybrid that West Branch is playing. Now that the game Slays is on Junkrat as well, that's a lot more pressure onto Vang, so Vang has to manage that shield around these long sight lines a little bit more carefully. The Deadeye is out, though, which might make things a little easier here.
Yeah, especially since Baldiff is kind of in the midst of everyone there. The anti-nade does come through, having to have Forest Hills back off for the time being. Wait for that anti to go away, but another huge one just comes right after it, as the Soundbeer invested to keep everyone up and healthy. But when you don't have the Soundbeer, the Annihilation just does wonders for West Branch. They do lose the game Slays, but Baldiff still just undeniable as West Branch continue to hold.
Yeah, absolutely killing it, and by it, I mean Forest Hills, dead there on the point, but with one last chance to get a good fight in. You're looking at maybe 1.5 fights here. That is one fight, and then a last-second touch. West Branch, what they did really well that fight was they didn't all push Q, so they've got this Nano and EMP almost the tire for this last fight.
Yeah, now they head into this. Another huge EMP coming through. DVS Div is down and out, but again, the follow-up is all they need in the end, as that is going to be the team kill. Yet again, they did use the Riptire, though. They did use the EMP as well. The EMP was the one that's, but that Riptire, though.
Yeah, they still have the Nano, but that is all West Branch has. Well, you know, the Nano's going to be really big here, too, because it might be the difference between Baldiff having their ult or not. I like Vang mirroring it, but you wonder if it's a little too late.
Yeah, as they've got to try to figure things out. The Nano Boost is going to come on to Baldiff.
Yeah, Annihilation.
Bloodhound comes through. He's going to build up that Annihilation and pop that immediately and find 4 kills in the fight. Yet again, the overtime bar, not a thing of the past. Well, it is a thing.
Holy smokes, he's such a silly hero.
He's so good, too, though. Oh, my goodness.
I love Ramatra. I'm not looking forward to nerfs that they're going to hit him with in the mid-season balance patch. You see all the teams in the Overwatch League running him when they aren't running Junker Queen. It's so silly. Oh, goodness. I'm sorry, Joker. I cut you off there because I was ruminating to myself about how stupid fun Ramatra is to play. But not against. He's not fun. He's oppressive. And it, you know, fits for his character. He's an oppressive Omnic Overlord. But you know, it's tough to go up against that if you're Forest Hills. And I guess one question that one might ask their color caster in a situation like this is, you know, how do you beat the ROM there?
Oh, wait. How do you beat the ROM there?
Thank you. I'm so glad you asked, Joker. You need some of the other silly broken characters. Mirroring the Ramatra is a great start, and you can do so pretty easily. This map accommodates for some of his weaknesses. It's team focus, which we know Forest Hills has in spades. There's a discipline that I'm getting to watch with their gameplay right now, with their ultimate usage. It's wonderful. They usually staging for this first corner fight, just running out and brawling Ramatra down is the way to go. But it doesn't seem as if we have to prepare to beat a Ramatra. We just have to outlive the ball here, Joker.
Yeah, this is definition of chaos coming out from West Branch. They've got Baldiff on the Wrecking Ball, Game Slays on Junkrat, and DPS Diff with the Fora, and then just attack on the anti-nades that come in from Breadcat, and they've already won this fight.
I don't have words. I don't have words, Joker. This is the disruption comp. It's well, not the disruption comp, but you know, this is one iteration of that. The Pharmacy with the ball to just go in on a pile drive, which already knocks out pretty much half your health. And then launching a damage boosted rocket. I mean, those are some pretty free kills. And Forest Hills, they've only got Bloodhound on the Cassidy to deal with that Pharah. So that's a lot of pressure on your DPS player. It means that there's pretty much only one target they can look at the entire fight, and that's that Pharah. Oh, don't step in that Devo.
No, Devo just stayed alive there. They are going to back away. I feel like we should call this composition the Joker composition, because this is just pure chaos.
Yeah,
but now they come in and they've already pretty much won this fight, losing Brain Drain early on. That healing that they no longer have available to them is just so crucial. And losing JB Bommel as well. I mean, you don't have any supports. There's no way to heal up, and all they can do is just die.
Yeah, so this is where you need to see a compositional, just a complete identity swap here from Forest Hills. They need a diva. They need a diva. You've got the Pharah, you've got the Junkrat, you've got the Ana, you've got the ball on like the opposing team. At one point, you need the diva here, or you need someone similarly mobile, right? This composition here, West Branch, what it wants to do is it just wants to trade backlines. All it wants to do is let whoever bounce on their Ana and kill their support, but they've killed more, right? And so you need something that can match that level of aggression.
As that now, the game Slays has already started things off. They do go down to Vang, but now they're caught between
a nice
a ball in a hard place, and the hard place is the far up barrage as Vang comes down as they go through to those minefields. And well, Forest Hills need to rethink their strategy coming up soon because it's not looking too hot.
It's definitely looking tough, Joker. Here's the good thing for Forest Hills is these team fights are so quick, so they always have the opportunity to reset as a team and evaluate their options together while they're all respawning, which is really important. That downtime in between lives, that's where these players should be most vocal. But you're right, they did lose the objective, unable to touch in time. They have to make the most out of this fight.
They really do. The Blizzard being invested from Devo, but they only get Breadcat out of the fight. This is disastrous. This is where you needed to start your hold, but it's just not the case. You've lost your Blizzard with nothing to show.
You do still have the Amplification Matrix and the Shatter, but without the Blizzard, you won't be able to slow down this Wrecking Ball. You won't be able to isolate the Mercy or target the Ana. And it does make things a little bit challenging with only about 30 meters left to progress here for West Branch to secure their place in the TEC playoff series. We'll have to see. There's the window. It's a little bit tenuous, though. It's not usable by Vang, but it does result in a pick.
Yeah, and the Shatter does come out as well, taking the game Slays out as the rest of West... Oh, no. Oh no, Lord Thief, they used
can't blame him.
Sound barrier.
Yeah, you can't blame him. JB does not want the team to die because someone dying means that you possibly lose this, but it is tough to not have that resource. And it's kind of a theme here is, you know, it just sucks to lose the resources that you wanted to have later, such as the Immortality Field, which gets used a little bit early, but look at DPS Life Diff lining up there for Barrage, shut down by Devo. That's absolutely massive, Joker.
It really is, but Baldiff comes through with 2 of the mines. The nano boost onto him as well. This looks to be all but over here as Baldiff puts the diff in Baldiff yet again as they are gonna to get a last second touch. The the Immortality Field not able to get there in time as West Branch takes the map and the series.
The Immortality Field bounced harmlessly off the wall and did not deploy in time. Unlucky, as I like to say when I'm playing Baptiste, because it was actually a really well-thrown, well-timed Immortality Field. It just, JB wasn't able to live in time. Here's the Ramatra. They will be annihilated, and that's exactly what we saw today from West Branch, from the Ramatra in particular, but there was a lot of big moments for all of West Branch, whether it was Baldiff finally getting to roam freely on the ball, DPS Stiff and Game Slays getting to show off the different heroes that they play. We saw Soldier and Farah, Cassidy, and a handful of others. I think someone was on Soldier at one point. I'm a Soldier 76 player, so always fun to see. Breadcat and the Antis were absolutely massive, and then you know, there's Firelord, which we mentioned at the beginning of the series, Joker. We never really get to rant and rave about because they're just in the background pulling the strings of each of these fights. For Forest Hills, there are definitely some memories that have been made running the Brawl comp with great efficacy there on Nepal Village. A really great understanding from them of when to be on the point, how to set up on it, how to retake, and play those fights. Unfortunately, unable to make that Brawl composition work on each of the consecutive rounds and maps, and might have been hard to make it work anyways, Joker, because we were heading into Colosseo for map 3, and Reinhardt can be really good on Colosseo, but he's also a little bit more trouble compared to that Ramatra.
It really is. It really is. We are going to head to a quick little break, though, here, Lord Thief. And before we head into match number 2, don't go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss more TEC High School Series action right after this. Hello everyone, welcome back. We are here very quickly because, well, like we said earlier, this is a pre-recorded matchup between Winber and Shade Central. And, well, we'll take a look at this bracket if you've forgotten it already. The winner of this takes on West Branch next week at 3:30, and that is going to be a best of 5. That's going to be a really tough ask after what we just saw from West Branch there on that previous match.
Yeah, West Branch, master of many different looks, but Winber's got some specialists of their own. Let's take a look at the Winber stats here and see what both of these teams have to offer up against West Branch. For Winber, it's holy
top
smokes,
7 and everything.
So much damage, and yeah, you've got the rank 4 tank. 3 DPS, 7 DPS, 3 support, and 5 support. Like, it not only is Winber comprised of TEC High School Series veterans, but they've also got some incredible talent. Anjus, Mr. Gary, GG Man, and the others as well. I sing all of their praises, but we talk about those 3 a lot. And you know, we haven't, unfortunately, Joker, gotten many opportunities to talk about Shade over the course of the season. So if you would take a look at those stats and extrapolate a couple of conclusions about this squad from for us.
Well, I can conclude that Icy is the best tank in the TEC at the moment. Look, I mean, 15 eliminations averaged per 10 minutes.
That's actually high.
It's incredible. Look at that. I mean, I don't want to discount anything that bad talk, not EQO, but that's almost 10 more eliminations than them. Then they've got Spots, who's that other dynamic duo in that top 5 DPS role. And then we've got Roman Noodle, who's a top 2 support in the league. 29 assists. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's actually some pretty high kill participation. I don't think even my assists on Zenyatta end up that high, average per 10, which is crazy. So Roman Noodle is definitely someone to keep our eyes on as this series progresses. Like you mentioned, Joker, it is pre-recorded, but we have yet to see how the outcome goes here between Shade and Winber. We'll be operating on the same map pool since this is also a quarterfinals game between Winber and Shade. I don't know when they played, but it's unfortunate.
Monday.
We have okay, yeah. So it's just a little unlucky that we missed it, and fortunate that someone was kind enough to record the footage for us that we can go over that. So So we get to start on Nepal, go to Shambali, and then head over to Colosseo if this series was a 3-map series, which here's hoping. I'm going to cross my fingers and hope for the best that we get to see some of Garrett's Hanzo on Colosseo. It's maybe the only way to redeem this map, but at least for this starting map, Joker, I think that there are a lot of things that are redeemable about Nepal. We're starting here on Shrine.
Yeah, we are indeed as well. We're seeing mirroring styles, but not mirroring comps. As Icy on to the Orisa here for Shade Central. Already taking the space away, though, from Winberg here early on. They do, however, lose spots early on in this fight, as there it is. One of Mr. Gary just going wild here for Winberg. They do lose the first point, however, but Mr. Gary still finding pick after pick for this Winberg squad right now.
Yeah, and then as soon as Angus is able to swing on those 3 turrets, that's a lot of pressure off of them. Means that they're free to go in for the pin and then swing even more onto spots on the sim.
Oh my goodness.
He's playing a really good hero on this particular map and has done more than enough for the team. 83% to ult for that photon barrier. And Azan just cleans up the fight with the rest of the Winberg squad. Shade Central is feeling pretty good about the ultimates that they were able to generate and the progress that they were able to make. The question now is how to use these ultimates. At least for the time being, there's no way to use them. Everyone is respawning. So off those stagger picks, Winberg gets a little bit of padding to that percentage, and they as well have generated pretty much most of their ultimates by this point. So this next fight, you get to see all of the best abilities emerge from both of these teams.
Well, speaking of abilities coming in early on, the Dragon Strike from Mr. Gary not going to find any picks, but I Hate Orisa does take down their Bastion counterpart, and it looks like Winberg's just going to get a free, easy fight win because of it.
Ooh, yeah. Bots ends up going down, and you don't really want to push without both of your DPS there. I gotta sing Icy's praises. Rank 1 tank, definitely not for no reason. Every single spear that I've gotten to see has hit its mark, and it's been an intended target too. The Terror Surge, unfortunately, doesn't get anything, but Icy still hasn't taken enough damage to back out quite yet.
Yeah, as Mr. Gary still just, I mean, how many times do we just continue to talk about Mr. Gary? Because they've just continuously been winning these fights off the back of 1 or 2 arrows. And it's just impossible for Shade Central to even take a real fight because of it.
Yeah, there's just always down 1 or 2 people. In this case, they're down a team. Shade definitely wants to reset and not drag on this fight much longer, so that they have one last fight. 83% progress here for Winberg, and it's looking very losable here for Shade. In this situation, unless they can secure a touch. Going to start things off with the assault configuration. They have teleport and photon barrier to get them to and keep them safe on the objective.
Hey, collegiate.
Never mind. Teleporters are going to go.
Hey, collegiate programs, are you guys watching this? What Mr. Gary's just doing right now, just demolishing everyone on Shade Central. I wish we had. We might have the stats for this, but I think this is definitely a flood of deadlift coming in for Mr. Gary right now.
The flood of deadlift. It's so true. Yeah, Mr. Gary's opening up these fights in absolutely incredible ways. It doesn't come as a surprise, though, right? It does come as a surprise that Mr. Gary's actually the rank 3 DPS player in TEC.
Wait, who's 1 and 2?
It definitely seems like a number 1 position there. But you know, the rest of Winberg knows exactly how to play around it. It's crazy. Like, as soon as one person goes down to Mr. Gary, Anjas knows where to play aggressively and how aggressive to play there, right? I Hate Orisa knows which off angle to navigate, which targets to clean up. GG Man says, all right, woo, I can finally go in as Brig. My threats are eliminated. And just starts running in and swinging. And it's absolutely marvelous to see not only Gary pop off with, Mr. Gary pop off with the picks, but also the rest of Winberg with this innate knowledge of how to operate off of those picks. Absolutely beautiful. For Shade Central, it's just about getting on the objective and staying there for as long as possible. They got the comp to do exactly that. Without EQO, things are a little bit troubled, but they can still make something happen here.
You know, I think I know who number 1 and number 2 are, and that's just a testament to how good those two are. If Mr. Gary is number 3, and us coming in with a pick early on as spots, though, not to be let down. They are one of the top 5 DPS in the TEC High School Series, according to the stats. Spots does go down, though, in the end, but not before Shade Central takes control of this point.
Holy smokes! I mean, just the discipline from Garrett here is absolutely incredible. Lets the Dragons loose there. The rest of Winburn still coming in. Mr. Gary does not want their uptime hurt. The rest of the team, now that they're here, it's time for a full fight on the objective. But watch out, that assault config melts through Garrett.
It does indeed. The res is going to be there from Ethereal, though, to get Mr. Gary back into this fight quite quickly here, but they aren't able to get really into this point just yet. Now the Terra Surge coming in from Icy, they are going to get away and find spots out of this, but again, they've lost Mr. Gary, and the res is going to be there onto spots. The rally used maybe a little bit preemptively before they really could go in, so they're not going to get the rally armor for this fight. The res is back. They're able to come in now. They still just don't have anything to engage with besides the Valkyrie that Ethereal has, as the Coalescence buys them more time on the board, but now they can come in, but they're blown up immediately.
GG, man, you know better.
They're just blown up immediately by the sentry turrets and the rest of Shade Central. As this might be just a clean 99 to 100, or 100 to for Shade Central.
It's looking like that, Joker. Shade Central has played this point extremely well, kind of like Forest Hills in the previous series. They know the identity of the comp that they've conformed to, and they know how to conform it to the objective and how to turn that into meaningful presence that helps to establish picks and demand space from Winburn. Shade Central played that. I mean, that was textbook. Like I said, it's like these teams have somehow gotten a hold of like professional coaches' macro notes and know how to structure and stage these fights. So really good stuff. I really want to, instead of breaking down the fight or anything else, I really just want to break down GG Man's feed there, because I understand it. I understand what it's like to play Brig, proc Inspire, and be like, I'm invincible. It's time to go in. It's unfortunate against Symmetra. Brig is not invincible, so ends up going down there. Shade Central is able to take Village, but there's one last map that we get to play here, and Winburn certainly seems at a greater advantage on this map with their comp than Shade. So we'll have to see how this extended poke, pick-off kind of potential comp goes against this all-in brawl style that Shade wants to run. I think both teams, if they just play their comps well on this map, then they win, but Winburn seems to have a path of least resistance here.
Yeah, as Mr. Gary continuing to land shots. Still not going to find the pick, however, on Icy, but it was chunking them down. Every shot has a purpose with this Hanzo of Mr. Gary, as Spots is on the left alone and going to go down, but quickly afterward, and just, yeah, I mean, they might be throwing, but you know who's not? Continuing to dominate the lobby. Mr. Gary just continuously landing shot after shot for Winburn right now, but I mean, Icy's not no slouch either, as they're gonna come through with almost every javelin throw landing, but in the end, Mr. Gary cannot be stopped.
Put me in the comms with Winburn, because I'll yell down, just swap Hog. Why are we playing Hog here? This is crazy. But it was a really killer shot, an Elim, rather, that Anja set up to secure onto Spots. And of course, you've got the pit, so you can drag people in there with the hook, which is pretty exciting, pretty fun to do. Icy's killing it on the Orisa right now. If Winburn doesn't keep up their pressure against Shade's tank here, then they are absolutely going to lose. Swinging a miss there from Anjas, and now he's going to get farmed. Yep, I saw that come from a mile away. Anjas, what are we doing on the Hog?
What are we doing on the Hulk, man? Maybe making them complacent. Icy, though, however, finds out GG, man. Now they have this free rotation to the point here. Mr. Gary trying to rain damage from far away, but not able to land the shots true enough to keep this point in their favor as they lose it out on us over to the Reinhardt now.
Yeah, I do like it. I remember actually Anjus was a prolific hog player back in Overwatch 1, so it makes sense. You know, kind of following the comfort pick. It's Sanctum, so you know that you can get away with it. Ooh, tough teleport. Unfortunate. Just ended up not having enough HP to make it. That's a massive Terror Surge though, slamming down onto 3 as if it's an Earth Shatter from Reinhardt. But does Garrett clean this up?
Oh no, there's no way! There's no way! Give Mr. Gary cleans house after Icy finds 4! That's why you can't leave Mr. Gary alive, Lord Thethan, as the respawns now come back and the res is there!
And Anjus, faithful friend to Winber,
escorts
the rest of the team in the Mercy back so that Garrett can get revived into a sonar headshot and another Storm Arrow final blow onto Icy. That is brutal. And at this point, if you're Shade, when you've made an investment into a fight like that, got the triple kill off the Terror Surge, called that it was winnable, and then lose that fight, that's what do we call it? Psychic damage. That's emotional damage a little bit.
Emotional damage.
And now you're looking at a very potentially losable first map. After a really great performance on Village, it's tough, but Icy's able to get that first opening pick, which is huge.
Yeah, as they're going to come in. The Valkyrie's coming in from Roman Noodles, however, to try to open things up. The Shatter does come through, does connect to Icy for a little bit, and the Death Blossom is down there from spots. It's going to lock up the supports, and Andos goes down as well, but Mr. Gary's still alive. Can they do it again? No, they cannot, but they do lose spots. They still have I Hate Orisa available, but gonna be going down in the end, but they only need 1 fight now.
You've got a lot of damage here on the side of Winber between Mr. Gary and GG Man, and now you've got the Pharmacy as well. There's a lot for Shade Central to have to deal with, a lot of pressure onto EQO to deal with that Pharmacy, as we spoke of Bloodhound on the Cassidy against West Branch in the previous series. Anjus has no barrier because not EQO is on that Bastion, has to charge out. You're walking into last team fight territory, and that's a great opening pick. Oh, several great opening picks!
Yeah, several great opening picks indeed, wrapping things up pretty much as that is that. Winber, take map number 1.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you, Joker. That's the prowess of Winber on full display. The clutch potential of Mr. Gary, the fun that can be had as well on the tank roll with Anjus, the fun that we can have with him here in the booth because he's a fantastic sport, and as well just the ability to operate as a team, to know how to follow up on those picks, to know how to move or set up for the next fight. It's really good stuff from Winber there. I was really pleased with Shade though. I'm really happy to see Icy so good at the Orisa. Perhaps I'll have to get a VOD reviews from them sometime soon because my Orisa is not great. And I saw some really incredible spears that time. It's just about making sure that you're, honestly, it's just about making sure you're not dying to the Hanzo.
Yeah. I really do wish we had the stats from that game. I couldn't seem to find them because I just wanted to confirm my theory on the flooded deadlift from Mr. Gary. I mean, what is it? 75% of final blows is a flooded deadlift, or is it lower?
I think that is a flooded deadlift.
Okay,
you might not need that high, but that's definitely that's the participation we're seeing from Mr. Gary.
Yeah, that's kind of what we saw there. We do have our next map. Obviously, it is going to be Shambali, and, well, we don't really have to buy for time. We don't have to waste any time. We can just head right into it because, well, this is a recorded match.
You're so right. What a luxury. We don't have to sit here and vamp for too long. I don't have to rant and rave like a madman, running over terms that I've made up, so only I understand for 15 minutes. That's yeah, we can just skip ahead in the footage. I like that a lot, Joker. I'll tell you what else I also like is Anjus on the Ramatra here on Shambhala Monastery. Yeah, we had our fun on the Roadhog on Nepal Sanctum. Now it's time to get serious on Ramatra. Come, let us punish them. But it's going to be a little bit challenging to do that on the Ramatra, considering you've got this Orisa specialist, proficient player, Icy, leading the charge, with the rest of Shade Central kind of built around self-sustainability and pick-off potential, which I really like. It's a composition that, you know, really you wouldn't see the pros running a comp like this, but for Shade, it's an accentuation of their personal strengths, and I really like that.
Well, you know who would love to be casting these games right now because he loves Orisa? Chef Billy. But
I love Chef Billy.
He's not here right now. We're stuck with you.
Yeah. Yeah, we are stuck with the Chef. He's so good.
But they come in here already. Mr. Gary just lighting up the kill feed continuously. Well, hey, not to be outdone, GG Man coming in as well for Winbert, as this is a quick fight win for them.
Yeah, really clean stuff there from Winbert. They're going to keep this payload from progressing. They built the dragons off of it, no surprise. Partially because Hanzo builds ult incredibly quickly, partially because Mr. Gary is simply that good. Now Icy's mirrored the Ramatra departure from their signature Orisa. I like the Ramatra mirror, but it certainly is oppressive and boring and slow at most times. So we'll have to see how this ends up going. No Ana on either side, so you're not looking at amplified annihilations. It's just who has the better dry annihilate, I guess. But there's a Discord orb on Icy, which is a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it really is. The healing there from your Usurper Draco is keeping them up for the time being and building up to the Coalescence because of it. But now they're going to have to come in. The Ravenous Vortex is coming through from both of them, but Icy still so very low. In the end, Winbert are going to be able to win this off and keep all their ultimates in their bank.
Not even a chance for Icy to put their arms up there. Not even a chance for Usurper to Coalescence so that they can live. There's nothing your supports can do there. But the Transcendence got forced out of Winbert. That's a big thing here for Shade. That means that they have a free Blizzard, a free Annihilate, free Overclock, and that's really good for them.
And losing I Hate Orisa too after using that Transcendence, and now losing GG Man. I think this is all over, but thankfully for Winbert, if you are a Winbert fan, they took that fight very close, so they're going to be able to get an opportunity to contest this late.
I think that was Mr. Gary's second set of dragons, so we're coming up on a third one. Got the first annihilates from both teams of the match. You got I Hate Orisa with this artillery configuration and a minute left in the bank. So ultimate's going to be exchanged on both sides, and Winbert really doesn't want to give up this first point.
And now they're gonna come in. There's the Blizzard coming in, but the Annihilation comes through as well. Just, annihilating the enemy squad there for Winbert. As did the Blizzard do anything? I saw it come out, but I never saw the Blizzard at all.
Quite possibly safely LOS, just kited back from by Winbert there. I'll tell you, those spots dying to the Ravenous Vortex there, ain't no way they could have ever seen that coming. That thing bounced off of a wall and killed spots at 1 HP. A little unfortunate. 15 seconds to touch here. Still so many ults here to play with for Shade Central. They can make this into a meaningful fight win and then a point capture, get more time in the bank, and they've got a really great start to the fight.
They really do, and the Annihilation now coming in. Mr. Gary finds spots, but now the Dragon Strike coming in. They're walking right into it, but Icy with this Annihilation wraps things up and keeps Shade Central's hopes alive.
Good stuff from Shade there. They get 2.5 minutes here into this next fight. It was an expensive fight for them. They used every single ultimate that they had available, but on the bright side, you get to play the game for a little bit longer. You get to make this map a little bit more winnable. I hit Orisa because they fell early in that previous fight. They still have this artillery configuration, which is really good. It means that Winber didn't need to over-ult there in a fight that they were going to lose no matter what, which means you've got a really great way to establish an opening pick and get some momentum back in your favor. There it is in action.
Well, speaking of momentum coming into their favor, the artillery strike, kind of momentum-ish for Winber, but they do come through Andas with the pummels take down 2, and well, buy them more time as it's down to 1:30.
And that's actually dangerous territory here for Shambali Monastery, just because it's so easy to lose people pretty early in these fights. Again, those long sight lines. I talked about how dangerous Widow is on this map. Hanzo is really no exception, as well as Sojourn. And there's the Hanzo and the Sojourn both trading in this fight. Both teams down. Well, one team down a little bit more now. Gary operating the off angle and making sure that this fight starts favorably for Winber.
The fight's gonna start favorably for Winber with a nice Dragon Strike coming out. The Annihilation also being used, and Icy's gonna go down to it as they're just running at them menacingly and taking Shade Central back to spawn.
I don't have too much to say there, Joker. I mean that was just I
don't either.
That's just Garrett helping to open the fight and then helping to clean it up as well. The Annihilation is always fun for me to see, but there's no one to really suffer as Ramatra has, as Anjas has. It's really just suffering dealt by the hands of Garrett. Now 2 caught off on the off angle, and Garrett's able to take 1-2 more.
Disgusting. Disgusting. As they come in, GG Man trying to not be outdone, but I think everyone's being outdone by Mr. Gary in this lobby, as it's all but over here now. They've got the sights up. They're trying to get a touch, but they do in the end. Roman Noodles gets there as well as you Super Shogi. The fade on to point from your Super Drago. And they're just juking and jiving around on the point, but it's not enough to keep them alive as Winber holds strong on point number 2.
And they've established for themselves a very attainable win condition as well. It's just a matter of making sure that objective crosses that 62-meter distance after first point, and the cart didn't stop at a position that is super easy to hold for second point defenders. So for Shade Central, their win condition is to not yield the first point. The full hold on any escort map is an uncomplicated endeavor, as I like to tell my teams. And for Winber, it's just, hey, let's just push it as far as we were able to hold, and it should be pretty straightforward. Man, I mean, it's crazy to look back on our time at TEC, the high school series, Joker, and remember Mr. Gary, just 1 or 2 seasons ago, because I think this is their third season.
This is the second.
Okay, it's their second season. I mean, at the start of last season, Garrett's always been something special for Winber, right? Mm-hmm. But I mean, he's playing on an entirely different level than he used to. It's absolutely crazy to see the kinds of improvements that all of the players in the TC High School Series have made. For Shade, it's honestly a little unfortunate. Winber's and Mr. Gary are not the opponents that you really want to be facing in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, like you were saying, Mr. Gary, we knew them when they had, was it WASD Esports 6?
Yeah,
something like that, when they were all on team accounts or school accounts, and they were good. They had those pop-off moments, but and then as the evolution went through, they continue to get better and better, but now they're just on a whole nother level for this Winver squad. They keep on powering up like a Super Saiyan here. What are they? Super Saiyan 3 currently for Winver. But in the meantime, while we're just continuing to stroke Mr. Gary's ego, Shade Central are starting their hold off.
And they're starting it pretty well as well. I really like Anchus on the Doomfist, so it's a little unfortunate that they end up having to swap on a Reinhardt here after I flamed their hog on Nepal's Sanctum. I really want to see the Doomfist, but the Orisa, Icy's Orisa is just it's a little too much to deal with for you know, really any Doomfist player, whether you're me on the Doom or Zebra. The shield's broken as well, which means that Winber has to play slower, a little bit safer here. This is a really nice start to the first point full hold for Shade Central.
Yeah, it really is buying them time, and that's what they need. Time off the clock. Because, I mean, they got about halfway through point 2, which is a doable holding spot, but losing spots early on. Now, no, not losing anyone else, but there goes Usurper Shogi out of this fight. You know, there was a swap. We didn't really talk about that. The Terra Surge, though, finding both of the supports. Icy trying to will Shade Central into a position to win this round and force a map number 3.
Oh, that's unfortunate for Roman Noodles to get caught out like that. That's a huge pick for Shade to have secured. You do have Usurper Drago with their Coalescence and a handful of other ultimates that will be able to be procced here in the mid-fight for Shade, but you've got just as much to contend against if you are Shade, if you're the defenders, because they're coming into this with Dragons and now Shatter and more.
As Usurper Draco out of this fight. Now the Deadeye coming in from spots does take Andos out, but it didn't take the real threat out. Mr. Gary comes alive yet again with 4.
Oh, no. I don't know what the counterplay is either, right? Because, I mean, Surefour said it best, right? The hot take. If you die to Widow, it's because you are being thoughtless. It's because you're not thinking, right? That's not the case with Hanzo, because this guy can wall climb, can lunge and leap to different places. I mean, when you're playing Hanzo, you're playing a gacha game. You're pulling the 5-star gacha heroes. That's a legendary loot box that Mr. Gary just opened. Is it luck? Is it skill?
Oh.
Maybe it's both.
I pulled a 5-star hero character last night in Pokemon Masters. It was pretty good. But speaking of feeling good, now Icy's found 2 picks coming in, and now forcing Winber to regroup for the time being.
That was a really nice blizzard from Usurper Shogi to amplify the defense here for Shade Central, and that's often what you're looking to do with ultimates and abilities, is what can I do to enhance a defense, right? It's not just an I win button, it's not just an I can't die button, it is a I'm pressing this button to help our goal get accomplished. So here's Icy with the Terror Surge. There's a goal behind that one, and the wall comes out, and that means it's an opportunity for Winber to push.
As they come in here, the rally comes through from GG Man. The Terra Surge, though, not going to connect to anyone, as I Hate Orisa finds one and only one with the tactical visor, but that is enough. The cookie started to crumble after they find that pick. Spots does come back, finds a revenge kill on to Mr. Gary, but in the end, that is too little, too late.
And now Shade has kind of lost their win condition, right, to full hold the objective. And man, they almost had it there too. We almost had that 3-map series, and now things are looking ever winnable for Winber as they begin their trek up these long sight lines where Mr. Gary is only going to be able to pop off. Ethereal's right behind them with the damage tether, and there are no ultimates on the side of Shade Central.
Yeah, now Shade Central come in here, and well, they've already lost Usurper Shogi. This is not looking good. A fight win stands between Winber and going on in the playoffs and sending Shade Central packing. The Dragon Strike comes in, and that's gonna lock people down to so low HP. Spots is gone. Usurper Draco follows almost quickly afterwards. The res onto Icy to try to change the tide of this fight in any way they can, but the wave was too strong from Winbur as Winbur take the map and the series and continue on in the TEC High School Series playoffs.
It's going to be really fun to watch Winbur continue to move through the playoffs. You know, this is something that they've been in the game, the TEC High School Series. They've been in it for quite a while, and you know, for this team, it's about time that they started getting those titles. And this is just the first step in a journey that lasts not too much longer for them. So good stuff to Winbur there on Monday, but also a really nice performance from Shade as well. Shade, who really kind of came out of nowhere, we didn't get to watch very much of over the course of the season, but still emerged with some really strong opinions on spots. Not EQO. I see the rank 1 tank in TEC High School series, and then as well, you've got the Usurper squad, Shogi, Alpha, Draco, and Roman Noodle, who all have their own pop-off moments. Again, Roman Noodle, I heard, with 30 assists average per 10 minutes. I don't actually know how you make that happen on a character that isn't Zenyatta. So always teaching us new things, new ways to play the game, new conclusions to extrapolate. I can't wait to see Shade back in the next season, and it's a little unfortunate that we got so little of them, but such strong impressions. I have to see them return next fall.
Yeah, especially with the departure of the top dogs that are coming, because this is their senior season. I mean, yeah. That hole is going to be filled by spots, by Icy. This Shade Central squad, if they continue to grow and get better, they're going to be a menace next season. So, our next semester. So I'm very excited to see them coming in shortly. But we, speaking of shortly, we are going to go to a short little break before our next series. Do not go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss the last two matchups of round number 1 right after this. everyone. Welcome back, and we are ready to head into match number 3, which is going to be Greater Johnstown versus Ferndale area. And, well, let's take a quick look at this bracket just again as we see there. Winber defeating Shade Central, meeting West Branch in the semifinals, but we're now on the right side of the bracket here, and that's going to be the first one of this is Johnstown versus Ferndale, the 2 versus the 7 seed. And let's as we take a look here at the stats for the number 2 seed in Greater Johnstown, one thing stands out from them, and that is going to be River Galaxy on the DPS. 26.5 eliminations per 10. 14K damage done per 10. Cherry Bloom as well, does not have a rank, but if we go based on where Icy was, I mean, I don't know. Depending on the damage mitigation, they don't have as much damage mitigation, but they'd probably still be a top 5 tank in the TEC high school series.
Well, and there's your number 1 DPS player as well is River Galaxy. I also like the amount of healing that we're seeing from Game Genesis, and that's, I mean, it's unsurprising as well. Taking a look at the number 7 seed, that is Ferndale, the opponent coming into this matchup. Their roster is stacked, not only with talent but with people. So many that we can barely fit them here onto the screen. But we're all familiar with the endeavors, the romps of Matic, of Gaming Bumble, Void, I'm the Mad Lad, Layla Fox play, and I think that we've gotten to see a little bit of Astro perhaps on stream. You've got a couple of names here that I'm less familiar with, which is fantastic for me. I love a roster with depth. I love more names that I can talk about. But you know, here what you're looking at is you're looking at a squad that that finds leadership in their tank and can follow up on that. As long as Matic is made to is enabled to succeed, then the rest of Ferndale will succeed with them. And for a matchup like Greater Johnstown, oh boy, you really want to be able to play the game regardless of which role you're playing. If you're getting shut down by Greater Johnstown, then you're going to be looking to swap as early as possible onto picks that offer you a path of less resistance, so that then you can start keeping Greater Johnstown from playing the game they want to. This has everything it needs to be a close series, Joker. The question is, are these teams going to make it close? I guess there's only one way to find out. We're still operating on the same map pool, starting off on Nepal, going to Shambali, and hopefully, maybe not hopefully, getting to Caliseo as well, our resident least favorite push map if you are sane and smart and handsome and all of the good things. And if you like the map, then you are dirty and stinky and a rat. And I hope you play Caliseo for the rest of your life. Anyways, heading here to Nepal, we'll be starting on Sanctum. That's the wonky map with the pit where we got to see Anjas play a little bit of the Hog. And Joker, I think that we're already seeing a little bit more Hog. Oh no, why are we on Hog?
I'm so confused.
Oh, it's true.
Why?
I forgot. This is Johnstown comp. This is the Johnstown comp.
That is the Johnstown comp, but I'm confused by Ferndale. Gaming Bumble's gone on to the tank role. Layla Fox plays onto this DPS role. Max onto the DPS role. What is going on here?
Wait, is this the Ferndale comp? Oh my goodness, a clash of styles here as Johnstown runs down on Layla Fox play.
Yeah, as River Galaxy can really only be hoped to be contained if you are Ferndale at the moment. They did contain them for a few short moments, but the res was there. Unfortunately, the shot's not being landed, but the damage being done by the rest of Johnstown nonetheless, as they are going to take point number 1.
Yeah, take that first fight. The Bastion is going to make things a little bit complicated there. Very brief. Went really low. But for the rest of Johnstown, able to stabilize and clean up the rest of the picks here on their signature composition. Cherry Blue setting up for more of these environmental eliminations. Gaming Bumble going to have to see if they can hook, well, rather, it's a contest to see who can hook who into the well first, or into the hole, rather. That's a lot of damage that Gaming Bumble just took, though.
It really is, but I mean, how is Cooper still alive? Finally going down in the end, but a nice hook comes through. Not going to be able to take them out of the room. However, now the sound barrier coming alive. Layla Foxplay out of this fight. The res canceled by Cherry Bloom, but in the midst of all that aggression, they are able to cap the point. Like you said, the Deadeye comes through. That's going to be all Shiro. 11% on the board. Make it 12.
I mean, you'll take whatever you can get in using the chaos of a fight to capture the objective behind your opponents and force them into a new position. That's not bad. River Galaxy able to walk away with an opening pick as well. I'll tell you one thing that I really want to see a little bit more of from River Galaxy is more Fan the Hammer. I just want to see more right-clicking from Cole Cassidy.
Yeah, as a nice hook indeed coming in. The whole hog being used by Gaming Bumble, but they aren't going to find much value because the whole hog of their own comes in from Cherry Bloom. But in the midst of that, they've already lost 3. They are still alive somehow, some way, but in the end, Cherry Bloom is out of this fight as Game Gen X is riding for their life.
That was really nice from Ferndale. Gaming Bumble kind of caught out by the hook, gets the nano from Katsumi, and then the care from I'm the Mad Lad, and Matic in the meantime just stays independent, pops off. River Galaxy pops off this fight, though.
Yeah, now they come through. Gaming Bumble out of the fight. The res is going to be there, but the res was for both of them, keeping them in the fight, but it's still Ferndale coming out on top. But the River Galaxy's found 2. Cherry Bloom still alive and well, getting the damage boost, getting the healing from Cooper Zeke on this on the role of Mercy, and continuing to hold on, getting the point back into their favor here and now.
Oh, there's a whole hog as well from Gaming Bumble. They get shut down out of it, unfortunately. I really want to see Layla Foxplay just int it down on the Reaper. Just walk right into him and see what value you can get. Because, you know, you really want that Death Blossom. You really want that ult for this last fight.
Yeah, as they are now coming in here. They've got the capability to hold on. River Galaxy, though, finding Layla Foxplay, finding Matic, the Valkyrie, to keep everyone up and healthy. As River Galaxy's found 3, they are going to be back onto the point. Gaming Bumble down and out as the overtime bar ticks away very quickly, and in the end, Greater Johnstown take round 1.
It's a nice start to the series here between these teams for Greater Johnstown. That's that's a map that you definitely wanted to win with your composition. That is the Johnstown comp. So heading into Village, you're going to be playing a little bit more brawly. I would actually love to see River Galaxy stay on the Genji just so that you've got something to occupy the backline of Ferndale, draw some attention from Matic and Layla, leave Gaming Bumble or isolate, make it easy to isolate Gaming Bumble so that the rest of Johnstown can just tear through them and then get to the backlines with River Galaxy. We won't be seeing the Genji to start off with, though. Is River Galaxy sticking on the Widow? No, they go far.
Yeah, speaking of the Genji on the last round, we probably won't see Havana much in the map pool that we designed. But if we do, and we have a lot of very good Genji players in here. We've seen, if you've been taking a look at any of contenders, second point of Havana is dominated by Genji, but you know it's being dominated right now. The lobby by River Galaxy yet again with the Pharah. They continue to just make work for them, as that is going to be 3 picks from now make it 4 for River Galaxy.
I really liked Gaming Bumble being able to swing freely on that objective, though. It was a lot of fun to watch them. Kind of, ooh, that's so close. Georgia and Cooper almost going down. It was just fun to see Gaming Bumble be able to kind of almost swing that fight with a couple of clutch picks with a lot of damage, and they are charging right back in. They get the pin on the Mercy.
No.
He's gone.
I think that was all because of Cooper just knocked them around a little bit with their concussion mine. They do get the res onto Gaming Bumble as well after they go down, and the microwave of the Symmetra beam comes alive and helps Ferndale come back in, but they are just pumping in this damage. The barrage is up and available for River Galaxy here. They've got to take away these turrets though, as Cooper is out of this fight, and the Photon Bay are buying more time for Ferndale.
Yeah, as well as these picks coming through for Ferndale, it slows down Greater Johnstown. They still committed the barrage, but it did elicit the shatter from Gaming Bumble, so kind of trades established here, albeit not fruitful ones here for Johnstown. Cherry Bloom is going to have to find an opportunity to disengage, but they aren't. They just stay in.
Wow, as they've overtaken them now, as Cherry Bloom gonna go down. No, not gonna go down. It's gonna be GameGenix goes down, but they do find Gaming Bumble, and the res gonna be used onto GameGenix. They do lose River Galaxy in the midst of all of that, though, so they still just have to wait it out.
Yeah, because Ferndale's alive and well in the objective, and they've locked this place down with the with Maddox Symmetra. And it's just a tough point to push here without that far.
But I mean, they've got Matic out of this fight here and now. Then the sound barrier coming in from GameGenix, allowing them to be pushed in without avail, as they aren't even able to get the res in from I'm the Mad Lad. And this is just an unfortunate turn of events. However, they do get up to 77% on the board, which is nothing to scoff at.
Oh yeah, that's a really nice padding for Ferndale, especially considering that they are down one round right now in this control point map. So they want every little bit of advantage that they can get, including their ultimates. One of which is coming up is the Bob from Layla Fox play. Might be really useful. And GameGenix just walk away with 3.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, GameGenix is just gonna find 3 as a Lucio and just continue to hold on for Greater Johnstown. I mean, hey, you do you, GameGenix.
I guess so. One of those was a boot kill onto Katsumi as well, who has the rally. So, yeah, that's a really nice fight to protect. Really nice shutdown. What is River doing?
Was just in the face of them with the copy, not able to build up to the copy shatter that you would have liked, you would have hoped to. As Katsumi now finds them out, they have overtaken them in the percentage, but they are losing things now in the end, and they are gonna look to capture it back, and they do indeed, as now they have things set up on point for Ferndale.
You're coming into the last fight. You've lost Cooper as well. Cooper, who had the overclock. That's really unfortunate for Greater Johnstown. And it's nice for Ferndale as well. They've still got a little bit of that rally over health as well. And maybe an early pickoff on a River.
Yeah, this should be it. The shatter comes out, doesn't connect to anyone, and the res is going to come through, but Cherry Bloom's out of this fight. They've got to find more if Johnstown want to do anything to hold on to this, but no, they don't even get another touch as Ferndale tie it up 1-1.
I think that was winnable too from Johnstown, so that's a little bit unfortunate to lose Village there, but that's okay. I honestly don't see the Johnstown comp thriving on Village the same way it would on Sanctum or a map like we are now, which is Shrine. So putting River back on the Pharah is a good step in the right direction, though they're going to have to be mindful of Layla Fox play and the Ashe. We already saw a pretty meaningful Bob earlier. Didn't get the chance to talk about it because I think it was right after GameGenix had popped off, or right before. And so all you really got to worry about is that Ashe on the Pharmacy, and that's actually pretty manageable. So here for Village, Greater Johnstown, rolling out an identity that's a little bit different. It's a dive composition. Cherry Bloom on the Winton as opposed to the Roadhog.
Yeah, and I feel like
forced him to play main tank.
I mean, I feel like that's what we normally see from them. If they aren't on the Roadhog, they're on the Winton. And it's working out for them. River Galaxy doing River Galaxy things as well for Johnstown at the moment. Back onto their signature Pharah, and are going to help them get this first point.
It prompts Gaming Bubble to go onto the Roadhog, which I think might prompt Cherry Bloom after dying and using Primal to mirror the Roadhog. Ferndale's also running Layla on the Widow. I don't think anything else on their composition has really changed much. So you're just looking for this pickoff potential. That's a cool trade that just got established.
Yeah,
Holy.
yeah, River Galaxy compliments Layla Fox play as well, landing the shot of their life, perhaps. They do get the res back and keeps River Galaxy in the fight, but Matic now with the beam of the Symmetra doing so much work. River Galaxy is still alive, though, on the point-taking names of Ferndale. It's just Gaming Bumble left on the point for the time being. The hook comes through, but not able to find the kill onto Game Genix.
I didn't know if Cherry Bloom was doing the wonky movement to avoid getting hit in the head there, or if Cherry Bloom was actually just lost. I'll tell you who's about to lose here is Layla Fox play against the Pharah with a barrage, mind you. Taken out of the fight, though. Kind of deserved. Nice play from Gaming Bumble.
Like Batman from the skies. River Galaxy drops down onto his unsuspecting target as Cooper, needs some help on the point as Cherry Bloom comes alive with a Primal Rage. Furious George, will you, if Greater Johnstown comes in and still holds on.
I've never heard that one before. That is awesome.
I stole it from Captain Jack. That's on me. That's on me. I stole it from him.
That's so fun. Furious George. I love it. You got a revive onto River. Game Genix has popped the sound barrier. It only applies to 2, though, because of the photon barrier. That's awesome.
Yeah, the photon barrier comes alive. All the ultimates on the board for Ferndale being used. They've got to win, and they get the point now as they do not use the overclock just yet for Johnstown, as they're just holding on for the time being.
Yeah, I think as soon as Ferndale kind of started using all of their ults there, Johnstown was like, okay, just let them ult, yield the objective, and then we'll go back in. But now's not quite the time to go back in. You're going to see Cherry Bloom absolutely schmelted here by the damage that Ferndale has. They get out.
Maybe not, because River Galaxy finds out Matic, and they have to burn the res. The barrage now coming in over the top, finding Matic. The hook is true, but it's still so much damage that have already come out from Greater Johnstown onto Ferndale. They do get the res. They do get some more ults percentage because of it, and they are buying more time. Cooper's going to go down early on.
Still with the overclock as well. Cherry Bloom has the Primal. This is not a time to be hasty, to make rash decisions here for Johnstown. They just need to back up and stabilize, group up, and then they can push in as a team, as one unit, while River Galaxy looks to build the rest of the barrage that they need.
With a nice dive comes in there. Katsume's out of this fight. They were not able to get any of the support they needed, because of that bubble you were talking about. The sound barrier coming in already from Game Genix. They do get that hook onto him, but they aren't going to be able to confirm the kill just yet. It seems the whole hog is there. Gaming Bumble still trying to hold on to this, but they're blown up by the barrage. The overtime bar ticking away. Is anyone gonna get there? No, they are not. Greater Johnstown take map number 1.
That was close, though. Ferndale put up a really nice fight there, and Gaming Bubble on the Roadhog was making really good impact. Matic on the sim, and Katsumi got caught out a couple of times, but they did end up, they did push the point earlier, got Cooper out of the fight, and as well, they did just exactly what you needed to do on support, which is live as long as possible until you have to die. So really good stuff from Ferndale. This is not a this series is not lost lost, nor is it losable quite yet. Heading into Shambali Monastery, I wonder how much we're going to see change between these teams. I realize that this is a really good matchup just because these teams are willing to play off-meta picks like Roadhog, River Galaxy on the Genji, even if it's not on a certain area of the map or a specific map that Genji is particularly good on. Just hurt sadly by the removal of the DPS passive, or the reiteration of the DPS passive after Season 1 of Overwatch 2. It was a good time to play Overwatch 2. But we didn't have Shambali Monastery back in that era. We didn't have Ramatra, and that's a hero that obviously I would love to see played, but you really can't run Ramatra into Cherry Bloom because Cherry Bloom is a Roadhog aficionado, and Cherry Bloom doesn't want to play Ramatra because Roadhog aficionado. So I think that we might just end up seeing the Hog Mirror, but one thing that might be really good for Gaming Bumble to pull out is the Sigma for Shambali Monastery.
I agree with you there. It's just because we've also seen the Winston come out from Cherry Bloom. Obviously, that could still be in the back of their mind. So maybe not the Sigma comes out. Sigma might not come out because of it. I would think the Ramatra is the safest bet for Gaming Bumble to choose because, I mean, it deals with both either the Sigma or the Winston or anything that could be thrown at them.
He's a silly, funny hero at the moment for sure. You also have some counterplay if River Galaxy and Zeke want to walk out or fly out rather on the Pharmacy, right? You have the Ravenous Vortex to pull them down a little bit if they're high up, or just lock them into the earth if they fly too low. So we'll have to end up seeing what these teams want to run out on. Like I said, I kind of anticipate the Hog matchup. You won't be getting that though. It's going to be Ferndale walking out on a Reinhardt-based brawl composition. We're back on this Lucio Mercy healing as well for Ferndale, which is really interesting to me. Joker, I don't know. You probably remember it back in, I think it was spring of last year, before we were in Overwatch 2. When we were in the graveyard seasons of Overwatch 1, we saw these high school teams running the Rhine, Mercy, Lucio compositions, often with varying off tanks. The Diva, the Roadhog, the Sigma, sometimes double shield. Sometimes you had an Orisa specialist, only played Orisa with that Reinhardt brawl comp, Lucio Mercy healing. And I always looked at a comp like that and I was like, that is not enough healing output to sustain, right? Overwatch 2, the format is different. It's 5v5, one less character to heal, one less character to do damage, one less character to have to be threatened by. So the fact is that Gaming Bumble might have the care that they need against Johnstown running this mirror support matchup.
The only thing I can remember of from Mercy Lucio is seeing it in my games and then clicking avoid teammate because I did not want to see that as a tank player. But hey,
Ferndale.
It is working for Ferndale, and their tank player who's found 3 picks already, as Cherry Bloom's gonna have to reset with their team as we see some swaps coming in for Greater Johnstown.
And don't worry, Mad Lad and Katsumi, I would never avoid you guys as a teammate, because this is some pretty reasonable support gameplay, if I do say so myself, keeping Gaming Bumble alive where they went highly aggressive. And they're doing the same thing again. Catch River Galaxy in the pin. That's how every fight should start off here for Ferndale.
Yeah, they need to push the tempo.
And here we go.
And I mean, they might just be able to walk. They are. They're just gonna walk. They're just gonna walk it in without any contest coming in from Greater Johnstown. This is a huge time bank for Shambali Monastery so far.
Yeah, for second point, there hasn't actually, Joker, there hasn't like been a real fight here from Greater Johnstown, or rather like between these two teams. Oh, Cherry Bloom dies here, right? Oh no, they live with a breather.
They live with a breather and they come back strong. This Greater Johnstown, they do lose 2, 3, 4, but River Galaxy is able to find a couple as well, buying more time for Greater Johnstown to hold on to this point, but they are going to have to rotate back as the respawns come quickly for Ferndale.
I was about to say, someone has to turn around and kill River Galaxy because they're so pickable at the moment. Just a quicker pinch onto that Cole Cassidy would have started this fight 5v4 for Ferndale, which is really advantageous. Looks like Katsumi was kind of limit testing, pressing their luck here. Actually goes aggressive, might pay the price for it because you've got a Mercy pocketing that Cassie out. River Galaxy walks away with a dub on that duel, and now the rest of the fight will play out. Nice trade.
Yeah, they do find Zeke out as well as River Galaxy still in the back line. I don't know what Lay of the Fox play is doing because, well, they don't find anything. It does not find anything with the Shatter coming in. Now, they do get the touch with the 2 meters to go as the sound barrier is there to keep them up and healthy on this point, but they've already lost River Galaxy, but they are being forced away thanks to the whole hog coming in from Cherry Bloom, buying them time and getting really no good value off the back of that sound barrier. And now the Artillery Strike finds the Lucio of their own, and they're going to be able to get this clock that's 5 minutes still on the board for Ferndale.
Ain't no way, man. That's crazy. Ferndale's able to make the most of a fight that that really shouldn't have been theirs to win. You know, you had Katsumi's sound barrier, which was well-meaning, well-intentioned, just timed, not poorly, just barely incorrectly to save Gaming Bumble from the whole hog. You're forcing out ultimates from Greater Johnstown the entire time, but you're constantly at a man disadvantage. Ultimately, you're able to just take point just by walking onto it and looking scary. And ooh, this time bank is definitely something to be daunted by if you're Johnstown. But you got 3 ultimates to use to secure this fight.
As they're gonna come in here, the Riptire comes through, doesn't find the picks you were hoping for, as Layla Foxplay finds 1, but it's still not enough to change this tide of the fight. River Galaxy finally coming truly alive, it seems, for Johnstown, finding everything they need, knocking them down, however, not going to be able to get the pick onto them in the end. But still, they have 3 minutes and 45 seconds here, Lord Ethan.
Yeah, you know what Greater Johnstown's win condition is, and I'm actually not joking with you, Joker. It's it's just fan the hammer Gaming Bumble. River Galaxy just right clicks on Gaming Bumble and you win for free with Zeke pocketing. Gotta kill the the assault configuration though here.
Yeah, they do indeed, but they've already lost Cooper and River Galaxy. The res is going to be true. Getting them back in the fight is huge as well, but they need to stay alive. And, well, when all 5 of Ferndale's just going to turn and look at your Cassidy, they aren't going to stay alive for much longer, but neither is you if you're getting whole hogged into a corner, but they're still alive, and, well, they've only lost 1. And they continue to push this. Ferndale do not look like a 7 seed right now, Lord Ethan. This Ferndale squad continuing to dominate here on the Shambali.
Yeah, they're looking really comfortable here with 2.5 minutes to fight this last fight. A sound barrier applied to their formation as well. The ability to walk and run down pretty much anyone who stands in their way. You've got Gaming Bumble just swinging to winning here, but the picks are rolling in from Matic and the rest of the Ferndale crew. They're going to take this objective, have 2 minutes and 20 seconds in the time bank for a second attack phase should they need it. And that is a great round to have after how Nepal finished.
Yeah, that's just crazy. And I think we're seeing the limits currently for Cherry Bloom on the Roadhog. I don't know if that is the best hero to be playing currently, and I don't want to say they'll be limited to how far they can go throughout the playoffs if Cherry Bloom can only play the Winston and the Roadhog, but that's what it's currently looking like.
I mean, it's the Johnstown comp. Mm-hmm. You know, they haven't played anything different really for most, I think, all of this season, right? So, you know, I mentioned earlier, you know, that like now's your time to experiment, to pull the aces, the wild cards that you've got up your sleeve, and I think that might
Jokers?
No, we've already pulled 1 Joker. He's in the booth, man. Actually, there's 2 Jokers in the booth. One of them is named Lord Ethan. I am a Joker. Some of these high school kids are Jokers, man, and they got to be kidding me with some of the things that they're pulling off. And I really want to see Johnstown pull off a successful attack phase, whether it is with these wild cards, these jokers or not. But Ferndale, all they have to do is just commit themselves to their identity. And I think I'd like the Reinhardt identity as opposed to the Roadhog identity for Gaming Bumble.
Yeah, as they are going to start things out. They are going to find Layla Foxplay here, but Gaming Bumble is so empowered right now by I'm the Mad Lad, but, well, I mean, well, not anymore, because they've lost so many of their players, but when they have everyone there, they're so empowered to just continue to just pump damage in, and they might just not be able to push here at the moment. They might have to go over to the Roadhog, even though it might not be beneficial for them.
These are two scrappy teams willing to play a fight however scrappy it needs to be fought in order to just get every little ounce of advantage they possibly can. I really like this matchup. This might be one of my favorites because this is TEC High School Series to me. This is what this looks like. It's been what it is for the last year and a half or so. It's just these teams, they're playing as teams, but you also see a lot of individuality here. You see a lot of limit testing, and I can't get enough of it. You've got Whole Hogs in the spawn ultimate exchange right here at the point where it starts. Ultimate's being reserved by Johnstown, but a fight won by them for now. Needless to say, that's some nice stalling that that Ferndale was able to get off this time bank, and they're working on a couple of other ultimates as well. The artillery configuration and the amplification matrix will be up and on standby here for this first point fight, and the artillery config comes out and gets a river. Okay.
Wow. Who is also very close to their artillery configuration. They are going to be rezzed up and ready to go. 5 ultimates on the board for Johnstown, and they only might need 1 currently. As they finding picks for them at the moment. They are going to use the artillery configuration as well in this fight here, and find I'm the Mad Lad out with it again. We're seeing some good ults coming in from the Bastions here, one that's not very normal.
Yeah, no, artillery configuration is a definitively bad ultimate. It's not nearly as good as tank configuration from Bastion's Overwatch 1 kit. Yeah, no, artillery config is not good. It is a trash ult, and the fact that Matic and River are getting such value with it is really it's heartwarming actually for all of us Omnic fans.
It really is, but Cherry Bloom not finding the value they were hoping for. They do, however, in the midst of all that, Greater Johnstown did get the point captured. So this fight, not really necessary for either of these two teams, besides buying more time for Ferndale, because they're going to have to back up when the respawns come through, as River Galaxy takes the space in the tank configuration. And, okay, the Death Blossom might find 3, but still in the end, Greater Johnstown come out on top. And again, these respawns are still in their favor, so they're going to continue to be able to push.
But you've got Gaming Bumble here on the objective with the self-destruct. Lets a rip, has the remech, goes for it and gets shut down out of it. Oh, no, this is so much fun. It's just Ferndale and Johnstown, like, all taking duels against each other. Johnstown have cleaned up a little bit. They're a little bit less scrappy. You can see that they're actually kind of reserving ultimates for certain times. Gaming Bumble got revived and killed Cooper.
Bonked on the head, but the artillery strike comes in clutch yet again for River Galaxy. There's 4. Can they find the 5th? Can they find 5? No, they cannot, as they are going to be able to continue this push.
And they've still got ultimates on standby, right? So Ferndale has dropped the Roadhog. They're back on the Reinhardt. Got a trade established here between Cooper and River and Matic. Matic brought back to the fight. Both teams are actually, no, right now it's a 5v4 in Ferndale's favor. Ooh, now made 3v3. It's evened up.
It is evened up, but still in the favor of Johnstown, just solely based on the ultimates that are currently available here in the fight, as Gaming Bumble's been taken for a ride into the back line of Greater Johnstown, out back to spawn now. The dive coming through. Cherry Bloom still has this Primal Rage to be used if necessary, but again, it might not be needed. The Sound Barrier connects them, keeps them up and healthy, and allows Greater Johnstown to capture point number 2.
Another artillery config comes out from Matic, not to much avail. You have Gaming Bumble now swinging around the corner. A really powerful position to play if you're Reinhardt, but not if you're up against a Bastion with a damage amplification Mercy. That's River Galaxy walking away with the 2 picks in this fight. Cherry Bloom still has this Primal Rage. This is crazy. I don't know what the difference is. You know, is this one of those classic cases of just both teams not having a strong defensive strategy and having a really good offensive strategy? That might be it, but something has come alive in Johnstown. Something has awakened perhaps the desire to not lose like this.
Well, the Shatter comes through and River Galaxy follows quickly after it being popped. The Rez, however, going to be invested, keeping their star player in the fight and still going wild. Another artillery strike, confirmed kill. They do go down. The Primal Rage, though, being invested, trying to keep things going in the favor of Greater Johnstown. You want as close to is a similar time bank as Ferndale. That is out the window, but you want at least more than a minute. But the stalls are coming out, and Ferndale are looking to hold on, and they might be just able to do so. The Rez getting Game Genix back into this fight. Layla Foxplay going down. The Rally not finding anything in the end. They're still able to hold on. Is Greater Johnstown, but they're just buying time after time, and that is not the song that I'm referencing, as Johnstown do complete the map, but with only a minute and 1 second on the board.
Yeah, so there's a disparity here between both of these teams and the efficacy of their attack phases, which yields a greater advantage to Ferndale for this second defensive round. And they do get to defend first, since Johnstown has a lower time bank. So, you know, they've got 1 minute to capture first point and then push however far they can make it. And if they don't manage to capture first, then you're looking at a potentially a losable game here for Johnstown. For Ferndale, it's just about, you know, man, I coach this game, so I shouldn't say this, but it's just about keeping these fights really scrappy. It's weird to see Ferndale thrive in the chaos variant of the Brawl composition, not conform to any order of operations, to any ability cycles or ultimate combos. It's, I see a play here to be made, and if it costs me everything, I'll make it. And it shuts down someone. You know, it's not just running people down with no purpose. It's just you've got 5 individuals all with 5 different goals. So if Ferndale keeps this scrappy, it keeps Johnstown on edge. It keeps Johnstown curious and wondering, well, what's going to happen next. And the Pharmacy here is definitely a comfort. It makes this match a little bit easier for Johnstown, keeps them a little more focused. You can already see it paying dividends.
Yeah, it really is. Already 2 out of the fight thanks to this Pharmacy. Make it 3. Can they find a 4th, or is this just going to be a team effort? It is a team effort in the end, but Greater Johnstown come out on top.
Well, that definitely was not scrappy. Johnstown was able to clean that up incredibly quickly. River Galaxy on this Pharah is an absolute menace, able to deal with Layla Foxplay during their assault configuration when Bastion has that damage mitigation, damage resistance. And River Galaxy and Cooper are both working really close to their ultimates, their first ults of the round.
Wowee. As they come in here already, River Galaxy just continuing to dominate the lobby, making me question why switch to anything but Pharah, as they continue to just find pick after pick for Greater Johnstown here.
Yeah, and you know, the overtime wick has started to burn away. Matic has swamped onto the Torb, Layla onto Ashe. So you know, for Johnstown, you've already knocked Ferndale off the composition that they wanted to run in the first place, and that's going to be a little bit uncomfortable. Make sure you keep on the objective. Oh, you saw that overtime wick almost burn out, Joker.
Yeah, the best thing is for Greater Johnstown, speaking of the overtime wick, the overtime spawns are so much in their favor because none of them are dying, and those spawns take extra long in overtime, and they keep getting picks. They are able to buy more and more space because of it.
Johnstown might be able to walk away with a win for this series if they don't let go of this objective. And I think that this is the case, Joker. I think that it's just both teams are more comfortable on the attacking round than the defending. Johnstown has bought themselves a really nice advantage considering how much time they have, or how much less time they had to start with.
As they're going to come into the fight, the Riptire coming out. Wait, get to the point, thank you. But they are going to lose enough of their players here. It is just Cooper left on the point, and well, it's not going to be enough to 1v5 the rest of Ferndale, but consolation prize for Johnstown. They got pretty far on point number 2.
Yeah, I mean, that's 83 meters down the second point stretch, so that is not bad at all. Ferndale needs to match that. Now, the question that you're confronted with is how, right? You've got River Galaxy now, I suppose, really comfortable or perhaps simply forced onto the Pharmacy, right? So you have tons of damage to mitigate, might make Mercy Lucio a little bit less viable. I don't think that's going to stop Ferndale from locking that support duo, though. Let's see if I'm right. If I'm right, yes, I am right. Gaming Bumble now on the Winston instead of the Reinhardt, so you can actually kind of go on that far a little bit easier. You can drop Bubble onto Game Genix and cut off any teammates who are in the aura, or even just, you know what I like to do on Monkey? I like to just chase Mercy players around with my right click. I tell my team, I'm like, okay, I'll come to you guys if you need healing, but like, you guys have to be independent. I'm on the Mercy. So the fact is that, you know, Gaming Bumble might be able to make Zeke's life just absolutely miserable here on the Mercy. But again, the wild card, the variable, you've got River Galaxy able to get Zeke into places that are safer. So Gaming Bumble is also confronted with a tough ask.
I think the real question is, why are you playing anything but support, Lord Ethan? That's the real question here.
I know I'm not good at anything besides support.
River Galaxy continuing to show that they are a very good DPS player, especially on this Pharah, finding 3 picks already for Greater Johnstown as they start to hold the point.
What is... I think maybe it's... no, maybe it's just Cooper that I've seen putting trap right there, just on the point. I don't know how many people it's trapped, actually. Oh, well, there's Gaming Bumble trapped.
Gaming Bumble does get trapped up, but Cooper does go down. So I think Ferndale will take that trade any day of the week, as now Ferndale are making the space necessary. The res is going to be there on the Game Genix, though. But, well, in the midst of that, well, no, they don't lose Cherry Bloom. The ability to keep them alive has just saved them this point, most likely, as River Galaxy finds 2 with the barrage, and now things are looking dire for Ferndale.
I don't actually know how Game Genix has already built a sound barrier, but man, if things didn't look daunting enough already, they should absolutely now, looking at the ultimate generation from Johnstown. Ferndale's still keeping pace, but wow. You see how they're coming up on all of their ults simultaneously? You know what that means, Joker, is that they can use all those ults simultaneously, and that's not what you want to see in these overtime fights.
See, the question is, can they build up to them in time? Because
playing that room, it's so terrifying against a junk.
I think they will be able to, but it's going to be really close.
I mean, Game Genix has the sound barrier to mitigate an ult storm. You've got Zeke as well with the Valkyrie to bail someone out or to save themselves. Cherry Bloom with the Primal, and not even to get picks, just to stay on the point. Oh, that's an ult gone.
Yeah, Zeke out of this fight, but so is both of the supports for Ferndale as the Riptire finds Layla Fox play. The Blizzard's off the board completely as the sound barrier now comes in. The barrage in celebration as Greater Johnstown hold on and take the map and the series and book their ticket to the semifinals of the TEC High School Series.
So the Johnstown comp fares well enough in its quarterfinals run with an iteration made on it from the Roadhog onto the Winston. It's nice to see horizons expanded, player pools increased as the season goes on. But I'm very intrigued as far as how it will perform in the remaining playoff games. So well played to Greater Johnstown. Ferndale gave us a fantastic
oh my goodness
to their run in the TEC High School Spring Series.
Yeah, that did not look like the 7 seed. That did not look like the Ferndale that we've seen throughout the series, throughout the semester. They look so much better, and I'm excited to see how they evolve in when we come back after summer break for the fall series of the TEC, especially if they don't lose anyone to graduation. I think that's another team to look out for as they grow in capacity to get better. But that is where we bid them adieu for this spring series of the TEC.
There's nothing I can say that you haven't already said. Ferndale, that's a goated roster if you have a productive summer off season. So hopefully we see them again soon. We'll definitely see Greater Johnstown again soon. Like I said, I'm very excited to see how their identity, their signature comp fares against some of the other highly competitive teams that have made it so far. But we got one last matchup for today: Hollidaysburg versus Everett. It's going to be coming up on the other side of a very short break. But we'll see you guys very soon.
All right, everyone. The last team to say goodbye is decided right now. We are headed into the final matchup of the quarterfinals, the first round, if you will, of the TEC High School Series Spring Championship. We have the bracket yet again to take a look at to see, well, who of these two teams will be playing. Hollidaysburg versus Everett have a chance here to move on and face Greater Johnstown in the semifinals in a best-of-5 format. But here and now, it is a best-of-3, and continuing on with the maps we've been seeing today.
That's right, Nepal, Shambali, and then if we get there, Colosseo. To give us an idea, some expectations, let's take a look at these stats, starting with Hollidaysburg, who are the previous TEC High School Series fall champions. You've got today, you actually have Jingsong on DPS, though you see them there on the tank role. V-Snipes are going to be taking up the tank role this afternoon, though they are the rank 2 Genji, well, I say Genji player, DPS player in TEC High School Series, but we know that they play Genji. I actually got to watch them. My friend was streaming and ended up in a match against V-Snipes and our very own Vaco, formerly of Forest Hills, so it was a lot of fun to watch. I mean, I could go on. Interstellar, Loked, TT Vidpeka, Gorg, Lumpy. Just absolute banger roster. Something that you can get a lot accomplished with, and that's what they're looking to get done against Everett.
And then we'll take a look at Everett here, the number 3 tank in the league, outfoxed, coming in hot and ready. Can V-Snipes contain them on the tank role is the question. And then we got also a very good support line here. Yui and Voltage, 6 and 9 respectively, and then Blaze Donut and Zeldge rounding out the roster in the end. And I mean, hey, it's still looking good. Top 13 and everything for them, and top and I mean, there's only one in the double digits on their roster.
Oh yeah. So Everett, this is also a team that we haven't gotten to see too and then moving on to the rest of the squad. Who is that priority target? We'll find out heading into Nepal for our first map. We'll be starting on the submap of Village, which I think is a great opportunity for both of these teams to run out on these brawl-oriented compositions and see who wins the mirror matchup before we take to Shrine and Sanctum, so that and we'll see those comps kind of change up a little bit there. And it seems as if we're going to get a little reset of the lobby here as well. V-Snipes is struggling to pick a tank character, DPS players, am I right?
Yeah. So we're going to get a restart from V-Snipes, it looks like. I don't know if you saw it there, but I don't know how true this is. TTV P.E.K.K.A. Currently locking Lifeweaver. But I did want to say before we discuss that, there's another storyline to come into play here. V-Snipes is a senior. This is their last ride, their last dance, their last chance to go out on top yet again here for them. And now, I think it's going to be very difficult to be able to contain them because of that aspect of the game.
Oh yeah, I mean, you've got there's always the in-game stuff that we love to talk about, Joker, right? You know, the matchups and the comps and the strategies, the ultimates and abilities and positions, right? But then you've also got those external factors, right? You've got team communications. How synergized is your team? How well do they work together? Have these teams been working on team bonding exercises? Is there a comms structure, right? You've also got individual competency, clutch, and comfort, right? That's why we see players lock heroes like Genji, even when he's not all that great. That character that someone can
run with. And you've got individual, which is V-Snipe saying, I'm on my off roll, but I'm still going to give it everything I have. And they're already doing a little bit, rolling through and wreaking some havoc.
Yeah, they really are bumping around everyone, and Zeld is back to spawn after getting bonked on the head. The res is going to be there to keep them up in the fight. However, Hollidaysburg are going to be able to capture the point first here, as things are a bit laggy on our end.
Yeah, all I see is Outfox pinning into a wall, but I hear a fierce battle going on in the background. I see Zelds walking away with 2 final blows as well, which is really pog, as the kids are saying these days, for Everett Warriors, and they'll be able to walk away with another pin elimination from Outfox there. You know, honestly, this is just for personal entertainment. I would love to see V-Snipes like mirror the Reinhardt. I really wanted to see mirrored brawl compositions come out here, and Joker, that's part of why we picked certain maps, is because we wanted to see which teams thrived in the mirror matchup. But V-Snipes wants no part of it. Lets the mines loose, lays the eggs there on the objective.
Yeah, the mine's gonna come through, but are just going to be met with the Reinhardt shield and hammer as Blaze takes down Loked. They come back in looking for some damage, but all they're finding right now is Outfoxed's hammer, as Gorg is out of this fight here, and now still trying to do something, anything, as Hollidaysburg, but they can't seem to open things up.
No, not quite yet, but they have ultimates to do so. The minefield was a little bit of a wash, but you've got both support ultimates online and a tactical visor to work with from Jinxong here. Everett Warriors have their fair share of ultimates as well, but they've also got the luxury of being in control of the objective, which is already a huge advantage.
Yeah, as the Coalescence is going to come in here from TTV P.E.K.K.A, but they're going to be taken out already. But Jinxong comes back with a 2-piece of their own as they come in with that, and they're going to be able to come back and get the point.
That's not bad. A little bit of extra ult charge there for Jinxong, placing the heal pad so that V-Snipes and Loked can get topped back off in the absence of their supports, as Gore goes to retrieve TTV P.E.K.K.A. As I like to say, I'm bringing my friends back from spawn with this Lucio Speed Boost Taxi. Gorg able to hold on to the beat there is absolutely massive too. Hollidaysburg, that was not an expensive fight for them to win.
It really was not, as the Riptire coming in, but it's going to be all blazed in the kill feed right now. With that, they find the Death Blossom. V-Snipes finds one with the minefield, but that's all they're going to get, as Everett come back in with a pick of their own to get back in favor.
You're coming up on last team fight territory here, with Jinxong going down. And Outfox coming up close enough on this shatter, but being eliminated. That's an opening here for Hollidaysburg.
Yeah, and as they come in, Loked finds Outfox, but Gorg quickly followed afterwards. They've got to figure something out, as it's not looking good for Hollidaysburg currently. Jinxong with a nice pick onto Voltage, but again, it's just not enough. However, have the superior comp for this round and are showing out because of it.
Oh my goodness, Outfox was ready to solo shatter V-Snipes. Yeah, no, like I said, you know, I really would love to see V-Snipes on the Reinhardt. I think that would make for an excellent show, for one. I want to see the mind games. I want to see the Rhine battle between V-Snipes and Outfox. Won't be getting that, though, it seems. V-Snipes has already instantly locked the Ramatra, which is still going to be a good look, a better look, I think, I dare say, for Hollidaysburg, who are going to want to fight the Brawl with Brawl. So it's not quite a mirror matchup, but like you mentioned earlier, Joker, I think it was in the Greater Johnstown versus Ferndale game. It was similar styles, but different compositions. And I think that's what Hollidaysburg kind of has to bend their knee to, is, you know, opt out of the funny disruption, dive, fast-paced comp, because the rest of the team can't play around V-Snipes Wrecking Ball, but they can play around the Ramatra.
Yeah, I was really questioning the Wrecking Ball. Was wondering why they weren't on Ramatra instead. Just seems like the better matchup, and it's already showing to be, with V-Snipes finding Outfoxed out as well as Zelds, and starting things off on a completely different note than last round.
Oh yeah, 100%. And yeah, I understand it. You know, I queue into a game, I want to play Wrecking Ball, I want to play Winston, I want to play Reinhardt, and then I get forced into playing Ramatra. I won't really complain about that because he's one of my favorite characters. But you know, not everyone likes playing this weird, funny tank. And so I understand V-Snipe saying, okay, let me give one round on the Wrecking Ball, and then I can go to ROM, help Hollidaysburg kind of stabilize here on Shrine.
Yeah, now they look to come in. The Ravenous Vortex locking up Outfox so low right now. They are going to get the support. They are going to get the healing to stay in this fight, but they've lost so many others in the meanwhile as Hollidaysburg look like a completely different team with V-Snipes on RAM.
Well, and you've also got Jingsong like really making stuff happen on the Cassidy. I think that there's been a positive duel for Jingsong in every single one of the fights here on Village so far. A testament to how stabilized Hollidaysburg can play when they've got that main tank kind of in front of them. As well, Logs is popping off. You got a ton of ultimates being built up for Hollidaysburg, and Everett is going to have a tough time taking this point because of that.
And they're going to also have a tough time taking the point as the Annihilation comes in from V-Snipe. They haven't found any picks, but again, they're buying time, buying them ability to get up to ultimates of their own to keep the fight in their favor. As the Kitsune rush now comes through, and that should be all they need for the point to stay in their favor.
Yep. V-Snipe's walking away with 3 thanks to the Kitsune Rush, and the rest of Hollidaysburg, a presence of mind enough to not use the rest of their ultimates. A little refreshing after the direction that most of the series today have gone. So it's nice to see some discipline from Hollidaysburg. Needless to say, Everett making swaps along the way. Their proactivity to make adjustments is laudable, but they're not going to have ultimates to touch the point and stay on it.
Oh my goodness, even if they wanted to, they were met with a deadeye from Jingsong, finding 2, and that's gonna wrap things up. Talk about a 180, Lord Thief, and that is a stark difference from round number 1.
You know, that's what Ramatra will do to you. Ramatra with the damage and the support behind him. I don't know how much you played during Overwatch 2 Season 2, Joker, but you know, we got Ramatra added to the roster in, I think it was December 5th. And then, like, you know, for weeks after that point, it was Ramatra and Orisa mirrors, but it was never determined by who the better Ramatra was. It was always determined by who had the most attentive supports and who had the most independent supports. If your backline can help you as your Ramatra, but also be able to fend off threats on their own, that's incredibly valuable. And it makes you able to do your job a lot easier because Ramatra doesn't want to defend his team, he wants to run down his opponents. And that's exactly how V-Snipes and the rest of Hollidaysburg have been playing. Everett Warriors, Outfox just needs to orient themselves the same way on the Ramatra, which is exactly how they've been playing so far. They just need the support. Losing Blaze kind of is tough, but this is still swingable.
Yeah, they do find Loked out, but still, they're in a very difficult spot, is Outfoxed here, as they're going to be able to start things off yet again as Hollidaysburg with the point capture.
Everett's still with the right idea there. I think that the correction I want to see from Outfox is running down the squishies as opposed to trying to deal with V-Snipes. Leave V-Snipes for the rest of the Everett Warriors. Blazed and Voltage and the rest of the squad can take care of that. But if you can just get...
Just a lot of damage coming in there from the rest of Hollidaysburg. Jingsong finds 2, but V-Snipes is just pushing this objective here with the Ramatra and continuing to just take the space that the rest of Hollidaysburg needs to succeed.
V-Snipes already has the Annihilate.
It's just crazy, and it's already chunked down Outfox to under half health. The Annihilation comes through. Voltage needs to be able to stay alive, but the sound barrier does not come online quick enough as V-Snipes comes through with 4.
Holy smokes, and that's the silly fun hero Ramatra for you, but also V-Snipe's proficiency catches the Reaper as well, Blazed, as they tried to TP. Really nice turnaround, really nice attention to detail there, and it buys Holidaysburg, continues buying them quite a bit of time. I like Zeld swapping onto the Pharah as well. It's just a lot more pressure onto that ROM.
Yeah, as the sound barrier is going to come in, the Annihilation comes through, and there's nothing to keep Holidaysburg up, even through the Kitsune Rush TTV P.E.K.K.A used. V-Snipes is going to try for a last-second touch, but, well, that's all they get, a touch.
Yeah, but Holidaysburg does have 3 ultimates now. Oh, almost 4, actually. V-Snipe's making a lot of progress on that next Annihilate. Gonna have to watch out for Blaze Death Blossom, but for for Holidaysburg with the Coalescence and the Photon Barrier, you've got a lot of defensive options for whatever Everett wants to throw at you, and you're looking at last fight territory.
Yeah, this is very close to last fight, like you said, the Photon Barrier being the starting point. Oh, goodness. Zelds with a nice boop takes away Jinxong's ability to use their Deadeye, and a nice boop comes in from Voltage, takes away the Annihilation, buying more percentage for Everett.
Yeah, in making this map a really winnable one. Look at Holidaysburg. They fully invested into that. 4 ultimates on standby, 4 ultimates used. Everett coming up now on 3 ultimates here soon. I mean, that's a really powerful way to defend this point, and you already start this next fight off with a man advantage. That's massive, massive for Everett.
Yeah, Jinxong out of the fight. It has to be on the back of a dry fight for Holidaysburg to win this out. It's up to 30%, and if they lose it now, they might not get a real good invest as the Valkyrie comes through and the Annihilation almost being popped. But it's a lot of damage coming through, and Jinxong swaps over to the far. It takes Blaze off the side of the map. The Annihilation coming in, trying to take Loped out, but Zeld's off the side of the map now. This is not looking good. Things are going more and more into the favor of Holidaysburg every second here now. The Ravenous Vortex trying to lock them up, but V-Snipes is built up to their own Annihilation and has taken down Yuyo, and this is looking more and more likely that Holidaysburg continue their chance to take this first map.
There's still one last fight left. Zelds, as long as they don't die with the barrage here, it's actually winnable here for Everett. They just need to live. Just live there. They've got the Mercy. Yui's tethered back to them. A touch in 5 seconds. A barrage will let a rip on the objective.
No.
Nothing claimed. Holidaysburg invariably gets this first map, but there will be another fight.
Yeah, the Kitsune Rush comes in, but it's just, it won't be enough anything for Everett. That win con was that barrage, and it was just a little too high. Like Icarus, they fall back to the ground. They fall too close to the sun, they fall back to the ground. And in the end, Holidaysburg take map number 1.
Yeah, Holidaysburg definitely basking in the sun of the victory of this first map here, albeit not done with the wrecking ball. It feels a little bit bad there, but well played on the Ramatra. Really, for both of the tank players in this match, Outfox again had a really good concept of how they wanted to engage in those fights. Ultimately, I kind of look at the disparity in the support, not lineup, but the compositions rather. You have Lucio Mercy on one end, and you have I think it was Lucio Moira on the other, or Mercy Moira, and so you just got a little bit more healing output, a little bit more resources that you can put into your tank or the rest of your team, depending on which one is your win condition. So possibly an adaptation that we see from Everett is opting for a composition that is able to provide a little bit more healing. You get the Baptiste in there, and Ana or Zenyatta for extra utility in the form of Discord Orb, which still hasn't been nerfed yet. I cannot fathom why. It's neither here nor there. For Everett, this is actually a very winnable series, which is interesting to say. It's a bold claim to make, Joker, saying that Everett can take this from Holidaysburg. And Holidaysburg fans, are definitely thinking, absolutely not. Holidaysburg has been a top team for the entirety of 2 TEC high school series. But Everett, all they need to do is just they just got to lock it in. They got to figure out who they want to focus. They've got to figure out how they want to use their ultimates. They've got to figure out which positions on the map are most advantageous to play in, but also which positions to avoid based on what Hollidaysburg ends up running out on. If you're up against V Snipes on the Wrecking Ball, play those closed quarters areas where he's less free to roam around, especially if you're on the Ramatra. Avoid those open sight lines. If you've got Xingzong or Loked on the Widow or the Hanzo, any snipers, if they're running an Ana, TTV P.E.K.K.A. or Gorg want to apply the nano boost or throw out some anti-nades, then get a Kiriko in your lineup so you have a cleanse. Buy time against the Annihilate. That's like almost a full second of time expired from Ramatra's Annihilate because he's not tethered to anyone because, well, everyone's cleansed, right? So there are counterplay options here available to Everett, and if they lean into those options, then they make the series very winnable. Hollidaysburg off to a great start there on Nepal. Exploitable if they want to run the fun picks like Wrecking Ball, but very tough once they resolve themselves to get serious, if you will, and play the heroes that really offer that path of least resistance.
What?
Looks like we're back to the fun heroes. Actually, good Doomfist players are very challenging. I like having them on my team.
Well, so this bodes because obviously Doomfist used to be a DPS player, a hero. So I'm assuming V Snipes has some proficiency with it, but again, I just don't really like it compared to what Everett's running with Outfoxed on the Ramatra.
I really like Voltage on the Ana here in particular. There's a lot of counterplay options. There's a lot of good matchup variables between Outfoxed and V-Snipes, the heroes that they're running at the moment. So I don't know. I kind of want to see it play out here, but V-Snipes is already in the back, already looking to go crazy.
Yeah, already getting anti-nated as well as Sleep Dart comes through. The Empowered Punch is there, but it is going to be missed up. They do find a lot of damage here onto the back line as Gorg on the Moira instead of TTV P.E.K.K.A. in the back lines trying to take out the support line as the shots from the Hellfire shotguns coming through from Blaze. Still no one finding a pick. Everyone's still just vying for position at the moment, but finally the microwave of Loked TV gonna be taking Blazed out, but they are gonna go down and the res is available, so they're still in the control of things here, but so it still looks on the up and up for Everett.
It does. They're going to be able to get a little bit of cart progress. They've made a lot of sacrifices to get this progress, but it all ends up worth it. I'm glad Yui finally pulled the staff back out, got some care on our other support. Always #1 priority, supports, as we say. But because of all of their participation, the three members of Everett, Outfoxed, Voltage, and Yui all have their ultimates for this next fight. Considering that they built their ults first, that's looking really good for them as they look to round this corner here, and Hollidaysburg is going to be scrambling during the mid-fight to get their most powerful cooldowns.
Well, I won't say they got ults first, because V-Snipes has already used a Meteor Strike in the
that's true.
in this fight so far. It did work out well for them, but again, it's just not the game-changing ultimate like Outfox's Annihilation is going to be, as they are running for the hills. Gorg as Everett capture very quickly first point.
Yeah, nice nano annihilate there, and that's exactly what I want to see from the support line for Everett, is to lean into the flexibility, right? Get a flex support player or get a flex support hero in that lineup, and you will see success. And in this case, a 4-minute time bank to push up the harrowing distance of the second objective of Shambali. Care, V-Snipes is back on the Ramatra, looking to make a difference in this fight.
Yeah, and that's just going to help him so much. The damage that's already coming out from V-Snipes and company because of it is working to their benefit, forcing back them currently as Jinxong takes out Outfox with their Bob and sends Everett packing for the first time.
Yeah, and that's a really good fight to win here for Hollidaysburg. You want to stabilize exactly where the cart is halfway through this stretch. Deadeye from Zelds, who does it claim? Almost gets Gorg, and I think one more nice shot from Zelds to at least get a little bit out of that fight, although they still end up going down, which is a little unlucky.
Yeah, now V-Snipes needs to back up just a little bit here. They are kind of in their spawn, but
Kitsune Annihilate
yeah,
is impending.
yeah, it's gonna be rough for them here, Lord Ethan.
It's good for everyone. It just means that they can just int it down and lose the fight, and then just reset as the team, get as much ultimate charge as they can out of the fight. But it looks like V-Snipes is actually now in the wrong position.
Yeah, they really are. Maybe not, because they are going to be able to find out Zelds and going to be able to find out Voltage, and now they're going to bring it up the rear, maybe using this Annihilation to complete the picks that they need, but maybe not. Yeah, they are going to use the Annihilation here to chunk down the remaining bits and pieces of the Everett comp, as the Valkyrie was used in the midst of all that, but it's not going to be really used for much offensive purpose.
No, you know, the Annihilate there from V-Snipes, it was really just kind of extraneous, just to make sure that they get to hold there, and just for the purpose of using it so that you can regen it for the next one. Nice opening pick there from Jingsong onto Voltage, means that this fight is very manageable for the defense.
This is an interesting swap to go over to the Pharah for Zelds, especially in this this section of the point, as the Annihilation coming in has found 2 for for Everett, and they get 3 now. But with this fight dying down, I'm curious to what your thought is to Zelds on the Pharah.
I think that it gets a lot more success on third point, and it, you know, or at least around this last corner or second. You want those open skies, and if you're not playing the open skies, then you want the long sight lines, right? And so it's you know, it's really more of a matter of like, how are you playing Pharah, right? You don't want to just int it down here with the rest of your team. You really want to look to isolate targets and pressure out that Ramatra whenever he tries to push into your backlines. Nice Molten Core there from Hollidaysburg, cuts off that whole space that Everett could have pushed in.
Yeah, they do go down in the end, as the nano boost was used on the Outfox as well to try to build quickly up to their next Annihilation, which they're pretty gosh darn close here, as Outfox is going to go down at about 90% to Annihilation.
So for the next fight, we see both the Ramatras pop Annihilate. We see Zelds go for the barrage. Don't fly over that rooftop, Zelds. Jinx is going like uber aggressive. They wanted that pick.
They were very lucky that they did not go down. 13 seconds remaining. Huge defenses come in through from Hollidaysburg here, as Outfox is swapped over to the Doomfist now, as they're going to come in with the Annihilation. The Fire Barrage comes in from Zelds, only connects to Loked, but the main, the other DPS is still on the field, as well as V-Snipes using that Annihilation, the other DPS being the Torb Turret. But Hollidaysburg are able to hold on after a very quick time bank from Everett.
Torb Turret being the best DPS in the game, if I might add. I would main Torb Turret if I could, because that's the only way I could get to GM. But
can we next April Fool's patch? Let's get Torb Turret as a playable
character. You need a Torb player in order to put you down.
That would be fantastic.
That'd be a lot of fun, actually. That'd be really funny. I liked the Torb pick, honestly. Torb's kind of a sleeper, or he's not really a sleeper. He's just, you know, he's not your, like, he's not Cole Cassidy, your Swiss Army knife of Overwatch, right? But he's also not someone like super specific like Widow Hansa, right? He has a very niche purpose, but I like seeing him played for his Swiss Army knife potential. He can deal with a lot of threats. So for I think it was Loked there on the Torb. I liked the demonstration, and now we get to see them on the Hanzo, offering the range, the ability to sonar around corners, reveal enemy positions, give insight and intel to your team. Meanwhile, for Everett, they're running something very standardized. You've got Zelds on the Soldier 76, Ana, Mercy, Reinhardt, all Overwatch staples, with the difference being Blazed on the Sim, which I also really like. You're up against V-Snipes on the Doomfist, and the rest of Hollidaysburg just want to walk into you. You can just beam them down.
I do like this matchup for V-Snipes a lot better with the Reinhardt in the fray instead of the Ramatra. It's your brawl v brawl, and it's working out well for Hollidaysburg here and now, as V-Snipes take out Voltage and opens things up fully for Hollidaysburg.
Voltage had some really nice connections there, unscoped shots on the Ana. Just, I think they almost killed Jingsong there, which I would have chuckled at a little bit, and would have been a nice pick for Voltage to walk away with. Ultimately, for Everett to all die there is not too bad. They get to reset as a team and take this next fight as 5. That's a huge advantage. No ultimates, so at least here in the initial stages of this fight, you're not going to see those ults come out.
Yeah, as they come through, as Jingsong's out of this fight, thanks to Outfox. They do get the touch there. At the last second, the Meteor Strike coming in. They're going to be able to take down Zelds and not get chunked down by the total mayhem of the Junkrat, as V-Snipes finds another one. Another punch comes through. V-Snipes is so low, they can't do much more, but in the midst of it, you mentioned it, Hollidaysburg did capture point 1.
Yeah, so that means 4.5 minutes, a little over for Everett to full hold here. They have ultimates right now, which means they have the luxury, the ability to say disengage here. We take the next fight on our terms. But if they stay in, like Outfox here, he's going to be forced to use the Shatter to get themselves out of this, or they're just going to die here. Which the latter ends up happening. See if the revive comes through from Yui. It does. Ooh,
the revive does come through, but they're still just in a bad position. Gorg is out of this fight. They're gonna be just chasing V-Snipes away, but in the meantime, they're still just finding damage, and now when they're able to come back to the cart, they get their head taken off by Loked on the Hanzo, as okay, V-Snipes has built up another Meteor Strike here, somehow, some way, and are gonna be able to open up the fight fully for Hollidaysburg.
Just a lot of uptime. That's how you build ult. You just get kills and don't die, and that's what V-Snipes has been doing for the most part. They might die here off of a little bit of a feed. With an empowered punch, though, it's definitely a lot less likely. Uses it to punch out here. More ultimates on the side of Hollidaysburg. It has to start with a photon barrier so that Everett has a foothold here, though.
Yeah, as the photon barrier comes through. Well, that might be it. That just might be it, Lord Ethan. They do find 2 and 1 with the oh my goodness, the Riptire is the ultimate that I'm looking for, but they find out Zelds. I don't know who's gonna actually be able to touch here, as the cart is just getting the red carpet treatment. Hollidaysburg walk it home and take the map and the series and knock out Everett.
Man, what a series too. Scrappy at times, super clean at times, a really nice fight put up by Everett, who, I mean, really isn't favored in a matchup like this, you know, against V-Snipes, TTV P.E.K.K.A, Interstellar, if they had managed to be in today. But you've got Jingsung really making a name for themselves, at least a debut here on stream, unless they played during a week that I wasn't here, or I just forgore about them. As I am an old man, it wouldn't be surprising. So I'm really pleased with the outcome of this series. obviously we want to see the hard work that Hollidaysburg puts into their practices, into their preparation for these matches. We want that to be rewarded. So it is cool to see them moving on to relive that last fall and see if they can get a second consecutive championship title. But as well from Everett, it was a really, really nice contest that they put up. They took a map off of Hollidaysburg there on Nepal. They had some really nice pop-off moments, moments of individuality, moments of scrappiness where they got to chalk it up to a fight win. And I mean, Outfox on the Tank is always just an absolute blast to watch.
And then speaking of the championship, we have the graphic for you here. The 20th of May is going to be that at St. Francis University in JFK Student Center, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Will we be there? We might be. I don't know. But we'll definitely be here on the mic at home or in person. That's one thing we know. But that's going to be it for us today. We have said goodbye to 4 teams today in the in Forest Hills, Shade Central, Ferndale area, and Everett in for this season or this semester of the TEC High School Series. But they won't be gone for long. We'll see them in the fall. But next week we'll see the semifinals to see who takes the trip to the grand finals. Thank you all for watching. And this has been me, Joker's Ransom, and him, Lord Thiethan, on the mics. Thank you all for watching. Peace out and have a wonderful rest of your day.